All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. We are going to be officially streaming Donald Trump and Elon Musk, and we are going to be hearing what they have to say. We got a tweet from Elon just now, like literally at 7:50 as we're getting into this. Here we go. Elon just said, my use of the word conversation is deliberate. This is so that people understand how real Donald Trump talks when it's a conversation rather than an interview. Nobody's quite themselves in an interview, so it's hard to understand what they're really like. So it seems like this is going to be more of a podcast, not actually an interview, which is what I thought this morning that it was going to be. It was going to be Elon not trying to have any gotcha moments with Trump, but just rather letting him talk in general. And so this is going to be pretty exciting to see what ends up happening. Thank you, everybody, for being here today. We got 10 minutes until the stream officially starts. And then we're going to see what DJT has to say. Fool's Gold 11, thank you for becoming a channel member. Really, really appreciate it. Thank you, Fool's Gold, for becoming a channel member on YouTube. So here's the question. We got 10 minutes, 8 minutes until the stream starts. What do you guys think he's going to talk about? What do you guys think he is going to talk about? I am very, very curious what you guys think he's going to talk about. I have some of my own ideas, but I think for the next 8 minutes until this starts, and by the way, I think there will be some technical difficulties. If not, then great job to Elon and the team for getting the Spaces server capabilities to handle it. But I do think it's going to be like a lot. I think it's going to be pretty intense in terms of the server traffic. So let's see how that plays out. But what do you think they're actually going to talk about? Elon just said in that tweet, it's a conversation, not an interview. If it's a conversation, I imagine this is more of a podcast, a more welcoming space for Trump to just express his ideas without being cut off or, you know, like forced in a hole to describe certain things that a journalist would want. So I'm curious, what do you guys think that he's going to end up speaking about? What did you do after the market close stream? I recorded a video that I just posted. Dude, this like content creator life is just like nonstop, dude. I took a shower, I recorded a video, I posted the video. I finished up a couple of small things and now I'm here and we're live again, dude. So my mom was like, you're going live again? I'm like, yeah, mom, we're going live again. Like we got Elon and Trump talking, bro. Elon and Trump are speaking. I mean, this could be a historic night just based on what they end up saying, what they end up, talking about, what conversations happen. The reason I say historic is because you've got Linda actually tweeted this, Linda Yaccarino. There's millions of people on X that are going to be tuning into this that are undecided. And so I say historic because you never know, this type of a conversation can make a dent in how people think of Trump, either positively or negative. But on Twitter, Linda says 37 million people are Democrats, 32 million people are Republicans based on their analytics, 34 million people are in the middle. Now, I don't know how they came to this conclusion because when you sign up to Twitter, you don't like identify as a Democrat or Republican. So I guess they're using some either polling or methodology to try to figure out what your bias is. But Facebook does this as well. Facebook lets you like literally target Democrats or Republicans through their advertising. So there's a lot of people that are going to be listening that are not one-sided and are going to try to have an open mind to see if any of the ideas they hear are going to be meaningful enough to engage in. So it'll be interesting. All right, what do you think? What do you guys think he's going to talk about? What do you think he's going to talk about? Censorship, EV, Democrats. I think that is fair. I think censorship is going to be the number one. Well, I don't want to say number one, but it's going to be one of the broader things that Elon and Trump will talk about. Now, the thing is, DJT stock is taking a crap right now because Trump's back on Twitter. Well, it's actually up after hours. Interesting. It was down 10% on the day or 5% on the day. Now it's up 1.2% after hours. We have 5 minutes until the market closes. It's up 2%. I think if Trump wins the presidency, DJT is going to do well. But I think investors are not happy that he's back on Twitter. He's going to Twitter because he needs distribution. But if he's on Twitter, he's not on Truth Social. No one uses Truth Social, so it makes sense that he's going on Twitter. But Truth Social is a public company, and you kind of need the main guy to be on the platform. So I don't know how that's going to work out in the context of DJT, but overall, the fact that he's still on Twitter definitely shows that he's coming back and he's ready to come back. Okay, I think he's live in the Spaces. Let me pull it up. I see the button. Okay, so it says he's live. Oh, no, he's not live. He was live for like a second. So already a little bit of a technical issue right there. A little bit of a technical. Oh, no, Elon's live. Is he working? Nope. See, let me show you guys what's happening right now. Let me show you guys what's happening. Let me show you what's if it doesn't work through desktop, we're going to stream it through my phone, but I'm pretty sure it should work through the desktop. So this is what's happening right now, right? I share my screen. That purple circle means that he's in a space. When I click that, spaces should pop up. You see how nothing pops up? There's 120,000 people already and Elon speaking. Okay, let me see on my phone if it works through my phone. Let's see if it's officially live. Let's see. So it's on the desktop. It's not working. On the phone, let's see if it is. We'll do it through the phone. But yeah, I'm very curious the implications of what it means for DJT and, what they're ultimately going to discuss about. You're getting the same thing? Okay, so it's not working there. On my phone. All right, so this is my phone. Clicking on it, join space. Not a bad. Yeah, I mean, this was the number one prediction I had this morning. I was like, this shit's not gonna work, bro. There's no I like using Twitter a lot. It is one of my favorite platforms. I do not think Twitter Spaces is a good product. I do about 2 spaces a week, and there's always some stupid bug that happens. And I just don't think they've committed enough time and resources to actually making sure that product is good. And I can't imagine with millions of people joining it would be good. So let's see if it's working now. Start listening. Nope, space not available. Let me try on Twitter. Let's see if on the desktop. Let's see if it works. Oh boy. What are they going to talk about today? This is going to be interesting. Nope, not working. Trump again has tweeted 10 times today on Twitter. So he's officially back on Twitter and he's been tweeting mainly campaign stuff. Getting millions and millions of views. I'll try to get his follower analytics in a second in terms of how many he got today. But he's posted about 7-8 different things today. Okay, still not working on desktop. Let me try on phone again. Let me know if it's working for anybody on the phone. All right, Elon, join space. So this is what it looks like. I'm here, right? And then I have to press start listening. Space not available. Space not available. Let me see if anyone else has it. Let's see. Here for. Nope. Farzad doesn't have it. And I don't think any other people. He just tweeted saying starts in a few minutes. Well, it is actually. It's not even 8 p.m. Yeah. Why am I even stressing? It's not even on 8. It's not even 8 p.m. yet. So technically, it probably is starting in a couple minutes. So maybe that's why. But this is all right. So while we wait for that in a minute, this is Trump's Twitter. Lots and lots of, as you can see right here, spaces not available. Lots and lots and lots of campaign videos. So one bearish case on him coming back to Twitter is that he may. And by the way, his some of his private advisors said that he was upset that Kamala Harris is perceived as beating him in the polls. I don't really know who's winning in the polls, quite frankly. I'm kind of giving up on polls as a barometer for the election, but there are a lot of betting sites, including Polymarket, which is the biggest one, that believes that Kamala is winning. And that's based on poll methodology. So I think he's a bit upset. And I think now he's coming to Twitter because he's like, all right, if Twitter is where everyone is, then I got to be on Twitter. And maybe that was the impetus to come back to Twitter outside of Elon, persuading him to come back, because this is great for Twitter. I mean, Tesla's going to, or not Tesla, Twitter's going to make a crap ton of money with Trump back on the platform just through advertising. But maybe also Trump realized he needs to get better distribution. Okay, trying again on my phone. Join space. Space is not available. Not available. For those that are in and it's working, please let me know if it's actually, if you can hear anyone talking and if they started or not. Let's try it again from my phone. Donald Trump. Join space. Start listening. Space is not available. Okay. So still waiting there. On the computer, not showing up at all. And look, I don't blame them for having technical difficulties because there's obviously a lot of people that want to get in on this. But I do think it's going to be if they want to scale this product, they got to be able to have the infrastructure on this. No one can join. Elevator music only. That usually happens for the first couple minutes. 2 million people in the space. Goodness gracious, bro. Yeah, Trump's definitely going to say, hey, I broke the internet. Trump's definitely going to use this. Be like, hey, there were so many people that were interested. Yeah, mine keeps saying 122,000 have joined the space. I think it's, let me see if I can update the app too. I know it's not working in general, but if I'm on the best version of the app, that'll help. Yeah, let me update the app right now. Got kicked out 10 seconds in. This isn't a good look, dude. I will say this is not, I'm sympathetic to them having problems, but I mean, this doesn't happen on YouTube, dude. And I know YouTube is bigger and I know Google owns them, but YouTube never has these types of issues because YouTube has scaled out their infrastructure very efficiently. Yeah, it's not working for anybody. A bunch of people are tweeting it's not working either. Yep, not working. Not working. Imagine they just do it on YouTube, dude. That'd be, dude. I've seen a YouTube. Have you guys heard of this guy who's been live for like 10 days? And he's trying to break the record of not sleeping for the longest. YouTube ended up banning his stream because they thought it was unhealthy, and then he went to Kick and he kept streaming. Like the dude stayed up for 10 days, I think longer than that, to prove he can stay up the longest. I was just like, wow, that is commitment, bro. I could do that when I was in high school. Now, if I don't get a good night's sleep, dude, my heart is like, it's like having palpitations throughout the day. It's like, I need my sleep, bro. I need some sleep. Still not available. Still not available. Drew's like, how's your phone battery already that low with that phone case? Dude, your guess is as good as mine, dude. Your guess is as good as mine. Obese Tomato, thank you for the $2 super chat. Elon is beating some engineer at XHQ. Dude, I said this in the morning. I was like, there's no fucking way. Like, we do a Twitter Spaces with like 500 people every Thursday. There's no way with almost 5 million people this shit's gonna work. Yeah, still not available. Someone said I stayed up for 5 days. Dude, when I was in college and I was rushing a fraternity, I think I stayed up for a legit 3 days. And I remember I woke up on the third day and I vomited so hard. Now, granted, the third day comprised of going to a party because that was the end of the rushing and there was a lot of drinking involved. So, I was very lucky, dude. I was sleeping on my back and I don't know how I turned over, but if I didn't turn over that night and I threw up on my back, I would be dead. So I don't want to get too morbid here, but I don't know how it happened, but I woke up and I ended up throwing up on the floor. If not, your boy would be gone. So shout out to my instinct. Space is still not available. Still not available. Still not working. Let's see on the desktop. Let's see on the desktop. I still don't think it's working there. Here's Trump. Yep, still not working there. Let me see if Meet Kevin has it. I doubt anyone has it. Yeah, Meet Kevin doesn't have it either. No one has it. No one has it. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Immediately start shorting Tesla. This is a Twitter problem, dude. They just don't have the infrastructure to scale this type of shit, man. They really don't. Look, I think Twitter's been innovating very strongly over the past like 10 months, but I don't even think it's because they fired a bunch of employees, because a lot of those employees weren't really, I think, that central to the platform working. The platform works. It's just Twitter Spaces never like has it never doesn't have bugs. There's always bugs, and it's very difficult for it to operate correctly. Bro's late like a myth this morning. Exactly. He's late like a myth this morning. Let's see again if it works. Dude, imagine this doesn't happen. No, it's not available. Imagine that they don't do the spaces. Imagine it legit does. Jesus, they're going to reschedule like the 8-8 event. Oh my God, bro. Bro, imagine this doesn't happen. Imagine they just can't get the tech to work. If Elon tweets, we'll do it tomorrow, bro. Yeah, it's not working for anybody. No one. It's not working. No, everyone's tweeting that it doesn't work. Damn, dude. Yep, look, everyone's tweeting the picture of space is not available. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Let's see. Yeah, Robinhood's 24-hour market is not working until August 16th. We talked about this last night. It's not working until August 16th. So it'll show like the little animation that it's working, but until August 16th, their third-party provider is not in service. So we're gonna need another 4 days until it works. Okay, let's see again. Does it work? On Trump's side, join space. Elon hasn't even tweeted about this. Start listening. Nah, dude, it's not working, bro. It is not working. Is there any other place to see overnight stocks? No. I mean, I think IBKR has some stuff, but it's not really that well used, at least from my understanding. So Robinhood is really the only place, and it kind of goes to show you how important they are with overnight trading. But they should be back later this week. Kamala stream would be working just fine. I think Elon said he was open to doing a stream with Kamala as well. I don't think she's going to want to do it, but let's try again. Nope. Why do they put a little monkey right there? The monkey emoji. It's like, that's not, I don't want to see that, dude. Like I want to see this thing working, man. Tesla streaming on YouTube. No, no one has it. I'm looking at some other channels. No one has it. No one has it. Yeah, it's not working. Brandon, thank you for the $10 super chat. Meaning of let's go, Amit. Let's start a trend. Let's go just means like let's go. Like that. I don't even know how to describe it. Let's go just means like let's go. I don't even know when I started saying it, but it just means let's go, you know? And LFG, it doesn't mean looking for group, although Steve thought it meant looking for group, and he was like, what the hell does LFG mean? I was like, no, Steve, it doesn't. I'm not talking about looking for group from some video game or whatever. Yeah, it's not working on desktop. Come on, man. What's going on? Come on, Twitter. This is not a good look. Twitter already is losing a crap ton of money on the ads business, which is, you know, it is what it is, but this is not the best. Like, I don't think this would happen on Facebook or YouTube, dude. Those platforms are just so much more mature. And again, I don't fully blame Elon for this. He's been innovating a lot. He's done a lot for Twitter. It's been growing rapidly. You know, they're finally paying creators, all that stuff. But this is one of those things you would think they get right. Because I mean, the amount of users Twitter is going to get to sign up to this thing. Bill Ackman just said it's not working either. The amount of people that are going to sign up to Twitter and download it just for this event, you got to imagine it's 5-6 million people that they're going to gain in users in one day, which doesn't happen for social platforms that easily, you know? It's still not working. Again, we'll try it on Trump's side. Oh, no, never mind. Still not working. Can we blame CrowdStrike for this one? CrowdStrike does not take the blame on this one. Let's try it again. Nope. It's up. You got in. Okay, so some people are probably getting in, but it's kind of like a lottery now in terms of who the hell gets in. If we don't get in, we're going to stream another streamer who got in. Did Meet Kevin get in? Let's see. Did Meet Kevin get in? All in one video one day? Nope, yeah. Meet Kevin's not in. Meet Kevin's not in. Farzad, I don't think Farzad got in either. All right, some of you are saying you're in. Farzad's not in either. Okay, so for some people it's working. It's just not in yet. Julian, thank you for the $5 super chat. Love you, Amit. Thank you for all the Pounter updates. You're the go-to. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. We just put out a new video on all the deals they had yesterday. Or last week. So you can check out that video. But thank you so much for the super chat, and thank you for keeping up with the channel and for the Pounter updates. Okay, so someone just texted me. Myra just texted me that it's working on her side. It's still not working on my side. I had to open a new browser. Let me reload the browser. I'll try it in Safari if it doesn't work on Chrome. Okay, so no, it's not working on Chrome. Let me try Safari. Let's see if Safari it works. Safari, account Elon Musk. Let's see. Is it working here? It's not working on Safari either. It is not working on Twitter, on Chrome, or Safari. You aren't missing anything. It's just electronic music. Okay, so good. Let me try on my phone again. And let's see. I'm in. They're just not talking yet. Let me actually refresh my Twitter app. Yeah, let me do that too. I have a lot of iPhone tabs open, just like desktop tabs. Does anyone else not clear out their iPhone tabs? Because that is an issue I have. Oh, I think I'm. Hold on. I think I'm in. Am I gonna be in? Fuck, I'm not. It gave me a little taste. This is annoying. Let me know as soon as someone starts speaking. If you see if they're speaking. Nope, still not available. Still not available. We are still waiting. Nope, this guy doesn't have it. I'm looking at a bunch of different streamers. No one has it. No one has it. I got in on desktop now on Chrome. All right, let me try on Chrome. So that's so weird, dude. It keeps saying details not available on the Spaces. Yeah, still not working on desktop. None of the streamers have it. If there's a streamer that has it, let me know. We're just gonna stream the streamer. But Meet Kevin says the interview is on hold for the moment. What does that mean? I don't know if that means it's not happening or Meet Kevin has it, but it's just playing music. Okay, so I guess that's what he means by being on hold. Let's see. As soon as it starts working for him, I think it should work for everybody. Yeah. He's still waiting. Oh boy. Tesla is streaming at the YouTube channel. Okay, hold on. Let me go to them. Tesla YouTube. That's actually really easy. We can just go through Tesla. But Tesla's not. No, the Tesla YouTube channel is not streaming it. First of all, why would the Tesla YouTube channel stream it? But the Tesla, I don't see the stream on Tesla. Let me know if anyone has the link for Tesla. The last stream they had was earnings. So nothing there. There's a bunch of other like channels trying to stream this. Oh yeah. Okay, so a couple other people are in, but it's still music. I gotta get in, bro. I gotta get in somehow. I gotta get into the party. Like, even if it's just music, I gotta get in, bro. I got to get in. How do I get in? That's a question I asked her many years ago. All right, Donald Trump. Why isn't it not working? Ugh, it's not working. It's not working on. Let me try Firefox. Only a certain number of people could get in. Well, that's not good for Twitter. They should definitely get more people to get in. Let me go through Firefox. Does anyone still use Firefox? Let's see if it works with that. Texted you a login verification code. Okay, let's log in. By the way, the company that does all of that is Twilio, for those that don't know. Whenever you get a confirmation code, it's always Twilio. Their stock has been hit badly. So Sawyer Merritt just said the space hasn't started yet, but 75,000 more people just joined. So hopefully they're figuring things out. Dude, this is a pretty big amount of people, but I've seen YouTube streams with a couple million people on it. So it's not like it's impossible. There's no way it's impossible. Okay, so here's Firefox. Yeah, you see the screen? It's like this like gray screen of death that happens. And it doesn't work every time. Let's see from the phone if it works. Let's see if it works. If not, we're going to stream someone else who gets it. Nope, not through the phone. So I have someone who I mean, quit playing. We want to listen to it. It's not funny anymore, dude. I wish someone. I do have a stream that has it. Brighter with Herbert has it. officially, and he's in there. So if they start talking, just let me know. I'm just gonna start streaming his stream, and if he wants to like copyright my stream, then all right, you go ahead. I can't do anything about it. But we need the content somehow. Yeah, dude, a lot of people are tweeting it's not working. A lot of people. Damn, dude, millions of people tried to get in on this. No one's getting in. A lot of big accounts are tweeting that it's not working. See, the thing is too, I think the other side of the media that is not leaning towards conservatism and the Republicans is going, they already hate Elon. They obviously hate Trump. They're definitely going to use this as an argument for why they like the number one thing tomorrow headline's going to be Elon shouldn't have fired 80% of the company. I'm telling you, that's what the headline's going to be. And they're going to make fun of Elon and Trump trying to do this if this doesn't work. Which, it's politics. It's fair game. So I guess they're going to be going at it. But it is still not, they still aren't talking. Yeah, any link I got through Twitter, it still is not working. I've tried it. Let's see, I'm going to try this again, start listening. It just says not available. I don't know. I guess we'll just wait till we'll wait till it officially starts talking, and we're gonna stream another stream doing it. Yeah, still music, still just music. I want to get into the stream though, dude. I want to get into the stream. What would happen if you streamed Herbert and then he streamed? He started streaming your stream. That would be some streamception, dude. That would be cool. That would be cool. Inception is one of the top 5 movies of all time. I think we all can objectively agree on that, right? Like, there's no debate about if Inception is top 5 of all time. Like, if you really want to debate, okay, I'll give you top 10. But top 5, Inception's there. Like, I don't think that's a real debate. I'm pretty sure we can all come to that agreement. In the divided society that we are, we can agree Inception is top 5. Ultimate 2024 flex. I got into the Trump Elon stream. Yeah, literally. It's top 5 because you've only seen 5 movies. All right, that's a low blow. That's a legit low blow. That is a low blow. Lex Friedman just said, turns out Elon Trump chat is a great stress test. Okay, you know, I don't really want jokes right now. I just want this shit to work. You know who the only people that probably got in is, oh wow, hold on. Elon just tweeted. There are holy shit. Uh-oh. Elon just tweeted. There appears to be a massive DDoS attack on X. Oh boy. Working on shutting it down. Worst case, we will proceed with a smaller number of live listeners and post the conversation later. Holy crap. Okay, now here's the question. Here is the question. Do you believe this shit, or do you think he's just saying it's a DDoS attack when in reality their architecture sucks? What do you guys think? A 1 if you believe him, a 2 if you think he's lying. A 1 in the chat if you believe him, a 2 if you think he's lying. I mean, dude, a massive DDoS attack right before the fucking biggest conversation. Who's doing the DDoS attack? Like, is Iran? Isn't Iran trying to do like an actual attack right now or something? If that is even going to happen, like, I don't know, bro. I kind of don't want to say he's lying, but given my experience with Spaces being as bad as it is, I kind of feel like it's number 2. I don't feel like it's number 1. Like who? Like what? The EU is attacking this right now. I mean, they put a nasty letter out to him today, but I don't think they're sophisticated. I don't think that, dude, the EU is not sophisticated enough, I think, to launch a cybersecurity attack on this thing. Damn, dude, this is not going to happen. I mean, if I'll still stream the stream that has it. It looks like Herbert is still there, so I guess I'll stream Herbert's stream because he's inside at least. I don't know. A large Twitter space like this is basically a DDoS, but it's not an attack. Yeah, that's, you know, that is fair. Dude, I'm sorry guys, I don't think this is them trying to silence Trump. I just don't think that. And a lot of people call me a Trumper. A lot of people, you know, say I'm too biased or whatever. So like, this is me being objective here. I do not think the deep state is trying to stop Trump from talking on his spaces. Like, I think it's an architectural challenge because it is not easy to scale these types of things. Okay, so a DDoS attack, let's pull it up right now. I've dealt with this a long time ago when I was trying to build some of my own stuff, but it is essentially a distributed denial of service attack. It's a malicious attempt to disrupt network services and exhaust an application's resources by flooding a website or server with traffic. The goal is to make the target inaccessible or cause it to slow down or fail. DDoS attacks are common. It's not that they're not common. It's just that, dude, Twitter has 500 million users. They're supposed to be able to deal with this stuff. I am not hating. I am not hating at all. Like, if you're new to the stream, you know I'm a big supporter of Elon. Like, I'm on Twitter 9 hours a day, dude. I do not have any vendetta against Twitter. I love using this platform. It's like the platform I spend more time on than YouTube. The problem is I also use Twitter Spaces, and I know how trash it is. I know it sucks. So I kind of feel like I have a little bit of experience here talking about Twitter Spaces. It is not a good product, and it never works, ever. Like, even for the most basic of like 200-300 people, it stresses out. So I can't imagine 8 million people using this thing. And they're working. Yeah, not working there. I think we'll give it another 10 more minutes and see if it actually starts going. And until they start talking. Again, we have the Brighter with Herbert. Oh, is it starting? No, it's not starting. It's still music. I have one stream pulled up, so I'll just stream the other stream if it starts working. But let's see. Maybe it is an attack, dude. Maybe it's a foreign nation trying to stop this conversation from happening. Maybe. I don't know, dude. You would think Twitter would be prepared for this, and you would think they would have a lot of infrastructure ready to go because they would expect something like this happening. So that's only why it feels like it's more architectural. I hate to say, though, I did predict this shit in the morning, dude. Like, that was the one prediction I had about this. I was like, this shit's not gonna work. And I didn't even say it from a malicious perspective. I was just like, I know Twitter Spaces. It's not a good product. There's no way they're getting millions of people to get in all at once. It's just not gonna happen. Read the comments on Elon's tweet. Stream it on X. YouTube. Meet Kevin says, join a YouTube stream. I'm live right now. I can let you in through a StreamYard. Yo, Meet Kevin's hilarious, bro. Oh, I should tweet under this too. What, guys? Give me something funny to tweet under this. What do I tweet under this? What do I say? Meet Kevin said, hey, I'll give you a StreamYard. Dude, that's hilarious, bro. Look at Chad. Someone said, would Apollo be helpful for Palantir? Chad said no. Oh my God, I'm dying. Chad said nope. Oh boy, that's hilarious. What do I tweet under this, dude? I gotta have a funny tweet under this. What is the funniest tweet? I need the funniest tweet. I need everyone to like my tweet because they see it and it's so funny. But I'm not creative enough to come up with a response under this. Worst case, we will proceed with a smaller number of live streams, live listeners, and post the conversation later. I don't even know. What do you say to this? That's funny. A pic of your face? That's mean. That's mean, Davis. Ask Meet Kevin, what's the coupon code? Oh my God. That's actually funny, dude. They should do it on Truth Social. Oh, maybe that's the comment. Hey, you should just do this on Truth Social instead. Is that the comment, guys? Do you guys think that's the funny one? Oh my God. Send an email to Hillary. That's funny. Damn, bro. Or what else are they tweeting? What else are people saying? Not Jerome Powell. Elon, I can't log in. I'm trying to enter with my printer. We're waiting. Please fix. It's the Democrats fighting to save democracy from two massive disruptors. Unreal. The world wants to witness it, and the elites refuse to let them. Are people serious, dude? Do they actually think the elites are stopping this? I don't know, bro. Like, I don't think that's. This was funny. Ex-engineer in charge of Spaces right now. Oh my God. Elon tweeted again. We tested the system with 8 million concurrent listeners earlier today. Okay, so Elon's saying that it worked. Elon's saying that it's working. Oh boy. All right, I guess we keep waiting until they end up working. I guess we keep waiting. 0% chance Amit knows who Kevin Sorbo is. No, who's Kevin Sorbo? Kevin Sorbo, American actor and film producer. Who is this guy? What did he do? Hercules? What is this shit? Andromeda? Never heard of him. Not interested. Never heard of this guy. Kevin Sorbo. Still waiting, still waiting, still waiting. Oh boy. Um I'm sending a text real quick. Let's see. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Okay, so Elon tweets that we tested this with 8 million. When did they do this with 8 million concurrent listeners today? I didn't see that space. Was that a private space? There's no way they tested it with 8 million concurrent listeners, because I feel like I would have known and I would have joined that space. I'm on Twitter all day. Meet Kevin's hilarious. PS, StreamYard can be audio only and I'll mute myself. Just get the show going. Did anyone get into the Elon spaces today with 8 million people? Did anyone do that today? Like, when did that happen? And there's no way you could have done it privately, because you can't do an 8 million concurrent listener space privately. That's not possible. It has to be a public spaces. When did Elon have a spaces today? I feel like that would have been big news if he was on spaces today. Unless they put 8 million test accounts into the system. Maybe. It was last night. But I know I saw he was streaming some video game. He was streaming Diablo last night, but that didn't have 8 million people. We will proceed with the smaller number of concurrent listeners at 8:30 and then post the unedited audio immediately thereafter. Okay, so in 2 minutes, they're going to keep going. I have Brighter with Herbert's stream open, so I guess I'm going to be streaming him. And I'll be doing that. It was with 8 million Optimus robot. Oh my god, dude. Oh my god. Again, I don't want to dismiss that this might be like a legit DDoS attack. Like, this might be China or whatever it is. I just, given my experience with Twitter Spaces, I had a feeling this was going to be a hard infrastructure challenge to be able to scale. It was not going to be easy. But maybe it is. Maybe we'll find out in the next couple of days that it actually was a foreign entity that was trying to disrupt this from happening. Or maybe it was the White House. Maybe it was the deep state. Maybe it was Biden. Like, I don't know, dude. Like, then you get into all these conspiracy theories of what it is. Like, here's my thing for here's the only reason I have pushback on it's a conspiracy. If they did this on YouTube, it would be working. YouTube, dude, like the amount of YouTube, there's a YouTube streamer named Speed. You guys probably know him. Dude, he has like 2 million people on at once. Like YouTube can handle this. If Elon literally just did this through YouTube, like it was like a Zoom of him and Trump just like doing a podcast on YouTube, I think that stream would be working. I really do. I think this is more architectural, because I don't think a DDoS attack is going to stop YouTube from being able to do this, because YouTube is just ready to handle that stuff. Still music. It's still music. Still music right now. They said 8:30, so right now is 8:30. Let me see if I can get in on my phone again. If they said smaller number of people, that means if you got in, then congrats, because you're in. And no one else is, I guess, going to be able to get in. Oh, I'm in. We got music. I'm in. Wow. They let me in somehow, guys. I'm in. Okay, I'm going to put this low because I don't want to hear this music. All right. There you go. So we're in. All right, my phone better not die while I'm listening to this now. How much we got? We got 16%, folks. We're going to get... Let me turn on the charger on this thing. Wow. I feel so special. I'm in. I'm legit in. A lot of you guys are in? Okay, you guys are in. I'm in. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. All right, so they should be starting soon. Let me see if I can join through my desktop, if that would work again or no. No. Oh, desktop. Hold on. It might be working on desktop. It's working. It's working on desktop too. Hold on, let me stream it here. Wow. Can you guys hear it? Can you guys hear this? Yes, can you hear it? You can hear it, right? Let me know. Yes, 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 you can hear it? Yes, can you hear it? Music right now. There's 612,000 people in. Okay. Okay. The music is low. How do I change the volume? Let me check. Where's the volume thing here? There's no volume thing here. Let me know if the volume sucks. If not, I'm going to do it through my phone. Can you make it louder? Okay, so is that louder? Is that louder? I put it at the highest volume on my computer, but I don't know if that's the highest volume for... Yes, is it good? Is it good? It's fine. It's fine. Yes or no? If not, I'll show it on my phone because my phone is directly will be on the microphone. Better. Let me test through my phone. See how it sounds as well. This is the most gnarly elevator music ever. Oh yeah, it's good. It's good. It's good. It's good. It's good. It's good on my phone too. I think it's good on my phone. Hold on. It's kind of low, dude. It's kind of... All right, I guess it's good enough. I guess it's good enough. If it sucks in the middle, I'll just switch to my phone. If it's bad in the middle, I'll just switch to my phone. Okay, so I'm gonna stop sharing until officially they start talking, and then we'll get in. Ahmed, have you considered the possibility that the small number of live listeners are in-person listeners? That's why he's talking about the unedited recording. No, I don't think that's the case. I think he's talking about live listeners that could get into the space. I don't think they're doing it in person. I mean, they might be, but I don't think there's a live audience in person. So I don't think that's the case. Okay, so I'll know as soon as they start talking because I'm in on my phone, and then we'll know. And then it might end up being its thing. It is garbage elevator music. Yes, that's the typical elevator music on Twitter Spaces. For the past 2 years, it's been that one. Okay, we're still waiting. There are 794,000 people in the space. Maybe when he meant small number of people, he meant like it'll cap out at 1 million or something, and then that's it. There will be over 1 million soon. Yeah, if they let everyone join, there's gonna be tons of people. It is not started yet due to a massive cyber attack that is trying to shut it down. Only so many people will be able to hear that are already in, but they will play the whole thing later. Elon just left the space, so he's probably going to rejoin. Trump is there. Oh, I think we're starting. I think I hear Trump. Hold on. You guys hear something, right? Yeah, I think that's Trump like breathing or something. But Elon's gone. This is so weird, dude. This is so weird. Oh, this is so... I think he's in the bathroom. Oh my gosh, dude. Elon's not even in the space anymore. Elon's not even in the space anymore. Yeah, now there's no music. Now it's just silent. This is wild, bro. This is wild, bro. This is so weird. Sam says, I hear people rummaging. Yeah, that's what I hear as well. Again, dude, if they did this on YouTube or something, I feel like this shit would work really easily. Like YouTube streams. I mean, I've never like, dude, on YouTube, if I've ever had an issue streaming, it's been like this morning, my computer froze and like the stream froze. But that's because it was my computer's fault and like I had too many tabs open. But YouTube stream itself, like YouTube's never really given me a problem. Maybe like one or two issues over the past couple of years, but it's always been my Wi-Fi or my computer, never like YouTube themselves. Elon's not in the spaces anymore. He's not in there. It's me. Look, I'm right next to Trump. I should request to speak. Imagine he accidentally presses it and then I'm speaking to Trump. I don't even know what I would ask him, bro. What would I ask him? Honestly, I would be like, yo, how much Bitcoin are y'all about to buy? Because we need to get that thing moving. This has been way too long of a wait for Bitcoin. Oh, still not working, bro. Still not working. Okay, let's try it again. Put in the chat a number 1 if you think this is China, Russia, or some illegal, foreign attack that's happening. Number 2 if you think it's a tech problem. Ones or twos. 1 if you think it's a cyber attack, like a legit DDoS attack. 2 if you think it's a tech problem. Let's see. We're getting a lot of 2s. I saw 1 so far, or 2 1s. We're getting a lot of 2s. Okay, so we're seeing most people are saying it's probably a tech thing. Elon's gone now. He said 8:30. It's 8:38. Has Elon tweeted? He hasn't tweeted since then. Damn, dude, Elon got 2 million impressions in 10 minutes. Like, the amount of reach him and Trump have is just crazy. Should I poll it? Okay, I'll poll it. I will poll it. Oh, boy. I did say I had a feeling this would happen. I had a feeling this would happen today. All right, so let's see. Let's see the poll. The YouTube auto-generated summaries are so funny on the chat summary. Viewers are discussing Elon Musk's recent actions on X. Okay, cyber attack or tech issues? Cyber attack or tech issues? It started. Hold on. Let me get back in. Let me get in on Twitter. I'm in. Okay. So I'm there. No one's talking yet, though. No one's talking. Elon's in, but no one's talking. Yeah, I'm in, but no one's talking. It should be starting soon. They're muted. Yeah, they're muted. Meet Kevin's in as well. Meet Kevin's up there. I can see Meet Kevin. He's in the stream. So far, there are basically 1 million people, 944,000 in. No one can hear anything. They're not talking right now. 60% say tech issues, 40% say cyber attack. I missed the elevator music. I think he said 45 minutes. No way, dude. He didn't fucking say 45 minutes. It's not live. It's not live at all. So for those that can't hear anything, don't worry. There's Elon and Trump are both muted right now. And I'm on my phone too. Nothing's playing on my phone either. Cyber truck attack. That's a good one. I should have tweeted that. Looks like a cyber truck attack. This poll practically reflects the election results. Is it 50-50? I mean, yeah, it's almost 50, 60-40 right now. It's almost, yeah. We get to 50-50. It looks like the election. I'm thinking about taking down my poll on X because everyone is mad at me for not believing in Elon. Well, Kelly, you own a Twitter. I mean, you own a Tesla, and you're part of Tesla Twitter. So if you tweet that Elon's wrong, you're not going to be welcomed by the mob. And I understand that. I mean, that's just the nature of how Twitter operates. I do think some Tesla bulls go way too far, dude. Like, you're not allowed to critique anything about Elon. It's like, you're not allowed to critique anything. And I'm just like, dude, can y'all get his dick out of your mouth? Like, you can critique the guy for a couple things. Like, it's okay. He's not perfect. Like, I'm not perfect. No one's perfect. And I defend him a lot, bro. Especially on this show. Like, I'm a big Elon fanboy. Like, I'm an Elon junkie. But you can critique him in certain times. Crowd drops tomorrow on this, dude. That would be funny. Anthony Noto's listening. Yeah, everyone's got to be in on this, dude. Still, no one's talking. No one's talking yet. Still, no one's talking. Admit request to be a speaker and tell Elon to pump Palantir. Dude, that should be my first question. Like, hey, Elon, you think Palantir could have helped organize this shit better? Dude, I wanna have a podcast with Elon one day, and I want to have like a really like deep podcast with him. I want it to be deeper than Lex Friedman, bro. I want to ask him questions he's never seen before or heard before. Not like Don Lemon, dude. Don Lemon had the dumbest podcast with me. Oh, they're starting.
All right, hello everyone. My apologies for the
Let me know if you can hear it.
We unfortunately had a massive distributed denial of service attack against our servers, and saturated all of our data lines. Like basically hundreds of gigabits of data were saturated. We think we've overcome most of that, and so it's now time to proceed. But as this massive attack illustrates, there's a lot of opposition to people just hearing what President Trump has to say, and but I'm honored to have this conversation. I want to emphasize it's a conversation, and it's really intended to just get a feel for what Donald Trump is just like in a conversation. It's hard to catch a vibe about someone if you just don't hear them talk in a normal way. And when there's an adversarial interview, like no one's themselves in an adversarial interview. And this is really aimed at kind of open.
I'm switching to my phone.
Open-minded kind of viewers who just trying to make up their mind, and so you can understand like what is what is it just like to have a conversation. So I wanted to Donald, great to speak. We had a great conversation yesterday. As you mentioned yesterday, if we could just record that conversation and post it would have been excellent. I hope we can have something like that today.
Well, I think we will. I'm pretty sure we will. And congratulations, because I see you broke every record in the book with so many millions of people. That's an honor. We view that as an honor. And then you do want silencing of certain voices. Usually those are voices that have something to say that are constructive, oftentimes constructive. And so we have to consider it an honor. But congratulations on breaking every record in the book tonight. That's great.
Well, thank you. Well, I mean, maybe we could start off with, the assassination attempt, which was an incredible thing. And I have to say that, your actions after that assassination attempt were inspiring. You, instead of shying away from things, instead of ducking down, you were pumping your fist in the air and saying, fight, fight, fight. And I think that's, the president of the United States represents America, and I think that is, and so that's a big part of the reason why I was excited to endorse you as the president of the United States for having another term here. Is that was just incredibly inspiring. But what was it like for you?
Not pleasant. I have to be honest. I said there was blood. I had more blood. I didn't know I had that much blood. The doctors later told me that the ear is a place that is a very bloody place if you're going to get hit. But in this case, it was probably the best alternative you could even think about, because it went at the right angle, and it was a hard hit. It was very. I guess you would say surreal, but it wasn't surreal. I was telling somebody, you have instances like this, or like a lot less than this, where you feel it's a surreal situation. And I never felt that way. I knew immediately that it was a bullet. I knew immediately that it was at the ear.
Yeah.
And because it hit very hard, but hit the ear. And I also heard people shout, bullets, bullets, get down, because I moved down pretty nicely, pretty quickly. And we had bullets flying right over my head after I went down. So I'm glad I went down. the bigger miracle was that I was looking in the exact direction of the shooter, and so it hit me at an angle that was far less destructive than any other angle. So that was the miracle. That was for those people that don't believe in God. I think we got to all start thinking about that. You have to, I'm a believer now. I'm more of a believer, I think, and a lot of people have said that to me. A lot of great people have said that to me, actually. But it was amazing that I happened to be turned just at that perfect angle, and all because I put down a chart on immigration that showed that the numbers were so great. I love that chart even more
maybe
now.
It's a sign. Maybe that's a sign.
It's an immigration sign.
You highlighted a serious issue, and at that moment, the bullet missed your, hit your ear, but missed your head. I mean,
the amazing thing is that the sign, I said, bring down that sign on immigration, and it was literally about an eighth of a second where it would be good, and after that it was going to be a disaster, no matter which way you were facing. But it just had that perfect angle, which was exactly at this shooter. Very sad situation. Such a sad situation. As you know, we lost somebody that was great, Corey, who a firefighter, a great gentleman, a great trumper. He was just a fantastic family and a fantastic man. And a friend of mine came up, Elon, and said, I'd like to give the family some kind of help. And I said, that's great. He said, do you mind? I said, I don't mind at all. And he wrote out a check for $1 million, gave it to the wife. And, she said, this is really nice, but I'd rather have my husband back, which is a nice thing for somebody to say, to be honest. She's great. The family is great. And we raised a lot of money for them and for two other gentlemen are unbelievable people also. They were hit really badly. They thought they were not going to make it, and they did. The doctors in the Butler area, I tell you, they were incredible. They saved the two, and they were really hit tough, both of them, equally. And we thought, my first question was, because I heard bullets flying over me, I said, how many people were killed? Because we had a massive crowd there, a tremendous thousands and thousands of people, and there was no land. I mean, it was all people. So I said, how many people have been killed? Because I knew there were other shots being fired. And they said, we don't know yet, but some people have been badly hurt. And I have to give the Secret Service sniper, they call him, or sharpshooter, but sniper, because he didn't know there was a problem. He's an extraordinary shot, obviously, and he didn't know there was a problem. And he was able to pick it all out within 5 seconds. And he used one bullet from very far away, I guess probably about 400 yards. The shooter was 130, but he was on he was on the opposite side of the field and the podium. And he saw the smoke and the flame from the gun, immediately recognized it, and immediately took a shot. And it was one perfect shot from very far away. And if he didn't do that, Elon, he would have. I mean, if he would have, a lot more people could have been badly hurt and killed. So I have to take my hat off to him, because that's also a surreal. You know, he's been with them for 23 years, and he's never had anything like this. And all of a sudden, he has to act, and it's a very tough thing to act and to be shooting somebody. But he saw the gun, saw the smoke, saw the flame from the gun, very far away. Obviously has very good eyes. He's got very good vision, which I assume you have to have in that particular work. But he took aim very quickly, and they say it was approximately 5 seconds from long range, one bullet. If that didn't happen, because the shooter had a lot of bullets, he had a lot of cartridges up there with him. So
well, I mean, that's clearly, he was very competent in taking that shot to stop the attempted assassination. But I mean, there does seem to be, I mean, some pretty significant failings elsewhere in the system. Like, there's just no way that, like, how on earth does a shooter get on a roof 130 yards away? That seems crazy. I think most people people are wondering how on earth could such a thing happen?
Well, you know, I view it as two ways. There should have been nobody on the roof. There were people, because there were so many tens of thousands of people there. there were people that were seeing him, and there was one woman with a red shirt and
Right.
Trump all over
I
it,
saw
and
the video.
she's screaming, "That guy's got a gun!" You know, you saw it probably. There's a
No, I
guy
saw
up
the
there
videos.
with a gun.
I mean, it's like I guess, I mean, for my part, and I think probably many members of the public are wondering how the heck are, you know, basically people wandering by pointing out there's a guy on the roof with a gun.
Yeah.
And they're seeing it, but somehow it's not being addressed. That does seem
Yeah,
crazy.
well, they're going to learn from this. The communication between the local police, who sort of had an idea, and then ultimately a man lifted himself up to the roof, could barely do it because he was pulling himself up, and
Yeah.
he saw the man with the gun. The man with the gun pointed the gun at him. He thought he was probably going to get shot, but he was like pulling himself up, and because of that, he couldn't get to his gun, and he fell down. Actually, very badly hurt his leg, his ankle. I hear very badly,
Okay.
but he fell down, and he did. From what I understand, he did say there's a guy up there with a gun, and the shooting started very quickly after that. I think it forced the shooter to go maybe quicker. He was supposed to be a very good shot.
Yeah.
My sons, Don and Eric, they can't believe what happened, but they said from 130 yards, a bad shot would hit that target almost every time. They said it's like in golf,
Yeah.
sinking a 2-foot putt.
Yeah. It's not a
No,
tough shot.
it's not a long shot. The Secret Service person had the long shot. He had triple the
Yeah.
distance actually. So it was a terrible thing. Look, uh, it's hard. I have to say this about the Secret Service. When I went down, and I went down based on, I think, they're screaming, but other people also, because people saw this happen. You had so many people. One of the miracles was that nobody ran. I mean, if a gun goes off, the crowd
Yeah.
control people showed us this. When guns go off, and it does happen in stadiums at a soccer match or some kind of a match, everybody flees. They call it a stampede, like cattle. But everybody, and a lot of
Yeah.
people get killed with those stampedes. We had
Sure.
more people than you'd have at some of these matches or these games, and nobody left. You had a small group behind us in the grandstand, and that was full. And you look at it as it was taking place, and normally they'd be running. They didn't leave. They saw that I was hurt. They saw a lot of blood, and they saw that I went down, and it's almost like they wanted to be with me. Well, out front, you had thousands, tens of thousands of people. As far as the eye could see, you had people in Butler, as far as the eye could see, and
Yeah.
and a lot of press too. There were many cameras on watching this. It's what makes it so different, because normally things happen that aren't good, but you never have a picture of it. Here we have all these cameras shooting it, so sort of amazing. But one of the interesting things was that you didn't have anybody flee. You didn't have anybody stampede.
Sure.
Nobody. And there were some people behind me. They stood up and they're looking like, I mean, I tell you, you want to have
Yeah.
you want to have them in a foxhole with you. I want to meet some of those people,
Sure.
because
Sure.
it's so different from what you heard. But so I was down. But the Secret Service
Yeah.
guys, there were bullets flying right over my head. You could hear them go whizzing,
Yeah.
and these guys came jumping on top of me, and a young lady, Kate, uh, would jump. They moved so fast, and let me tell you, that took tremendous courage. Now there was a lack of coordination. There was, obviously everybody understands that that building should have been covered, and
Yeah. I mean,
that was
I
the
think
big
that,
thing.
like, I mean, looking at the aerial views, that building would be like the number one spot for a sniper. I mean, it's like if you were to pick, like, what is the favorite, what if you, so if the goal is to assassinate, what's your favorite spot? That building, the
You're
roof of
right.
that building would be number one.
That would have been the spot.
It's like you can ask for a better
No,
location. It's like number
no,
one.
that would have been the spot. You know what people think is when the local policeman, who, by the way, he really he did what he was supposed to do. He couldn't hold on any longer. And then when he got his head just peeking above, this guy standing there with a gun at his head. And when he fell down, again, hurt his ankle very badly, but he was making the calls. But what happened is the firing took place very soon. So what they think is that this guy ran to his site, which he had all planned out with the gun. He ran to the site and he started shooting fast, and maybe that's why he he sort of missed. I mean, he
but
he
as you
got
say,
me, but
he
it
would have
could have
hit.
been could have been a much
Yeah.
bigger problem.
But he totally would have hit if you hadn't turned your head. So, like, there was it was a very near thing.
It was a
So,
miracle. If I hadn't turned my head,
yeah,
I would not be talking to you right now. As much as I like you,
exactly.
I would not.
Yeah,
I would not be talking.
I mean, be talking to me from another realm, perhaps.
Yeah, that's right. We'd be talking from a
so-
different place. But it was a it was a very terrible experience. The Butler Hospital, they did such a great job. The doctors were so good. Everybody was so good. There was a mistake. If somebody knew, because people were hearing that, there was just a bad feeling that there was somebody was around. You know that story now. It's been pretty well.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
if somebody could have said, because they've oftentimes said, like there'd be a lightning storm or something. Because I've done, I think over 300. I think I did a lot more than that, but we did a lot. And oftentimes they'll say, "Sir, could you wait 10 minutes, please? Sir, could you wait 20 minutes? There's a storm overhead or lightning or something," right? And that happens often. And this would have been a perfect time for that to have happened, but it didn't get coordinated. That was the problem.
Well, it was your I think your actions in the heat of fire, and like what I found admirable there was that you can't fake bravery under such circumstances. The courage is instinctual, or it is not. It's not a rehearsed action. And so I just want to say that I think a lot of people admire your courage under fire there. And
Well,
so
thank you very much. I appreciate it. I didn't think of it. I just wanted to get up and I wanted to stand up. I wanted to let people know, I felt I was good when they were on top of me, covering me, actually, very much covering me and very bravely. But I wanted to get up. I said, I want to get up. And they wanted, they have everything there. They wanted stretcher. I didn't like the stretcher. And I knew I was hit in the ear, but I knew I wasn't hit anywhere else. They felt I was hit someplace else because it was such a lot of blood. And they were sure that I was hit someplace else. And they were saying, "Sir, you were hit more than the ear." I said, "Nope, I was hit in the ear. I want to get up. Let me get up." And so I got up, and the crowd didn't know what to think. I mean, this was so many people, and you could see they were confused. They didn't know what to think. And I wanted to let them know I was okay. It was very important for me to let them know that. And they went wild. You've seen the after. They didn't go wild when I got up because they didn't know, was I alive? You really couldn't tell. When I stood up before the fist in the air, uh, they didn't know if I was alive. Nobody did. And when I put the fist up, they were just relieved and happy and thrilled, and the place went crazy. It was pretty amazing. It was a terrible thing, but it was really nice.
incredibly moving. Yeah. Well, and I mean, speaking of the sort of slide that got you to turn, that saved your life, really, was the illegal immigration slide. Maybe this, maybe it's worth talking about that.
It was
that slide saved your life.
No, the illegal immigration saved my life. You're right, but it was I had to be at that exact angle.
I mean, that's a great one. saved by illegal immigration.
The incredible thing, though, when you talk about the odds, you had to be exactly at that angle. But the incredible thing is that the chart, I used it less than 20% of the time. It was just a moment.
Yeah.
It's always on my left, never my right, and it's always at the end of the speech. So here we have it. It's on the right, not the left. It's at the beginning, not the end. And even the people that put it up, they were unprepared, and they did a great job. They got it up immediately, fortunately. But I looked to the right, and the bullet came whizzing by, hitting my ear. So it was amazing. But when you think of the odds of that, and that normally you wouldn't use it. Normally I wouldn't have the thing, and then it would have been a very different story. It's very much, I say, an act of God. It's a miracle that it happened, and I'm honored by it. I'm honored by it.
Well, Well, what were you about to say about illegal immigration before you were rudely interrupted?
Well, I was going to say how good the numbers were. By the way, we're going back to Butler, and we're going to go back in October. We're all set up, and the people are fantastic in Butler. It's a great area. Great. These are incredible people. Like the three that, in the case of Corey killed, and the other two, the families are. I got to know them a little bit, and the families are great. But we're going back to Butler, and I think I'll probably start by saying, as I was saying, prior to being so horribly interrupted.
Yeah.
But
so rudely interrupted by an assassination attempt.
But no, but the chart.
Some people have no manners.
Elon, the chart was just a chart that, in my last week, we had the best illegal immigration numbers, meaning stopping. It was at the lowest. You've seen the chart. It's become quite a famous chart. But that was the lowest point ever recorded. It was a really, I mean, I was very proud of those numbers. And then you see what happened with these people, Kamala and Joe. You see what happened. They just let it go. I had remain in Mexico policies. I had all these different policies that was so good. Guys like Tom Homan and Brandon Judd from Border Patrol. These are all people that they've been on television. They says the best numbers we've ever had. We had so many different checks, catch and release in Mexico, not the United. We had catch and release in the United States. We had it in Mexico. We had so many things. We had things where many people come in there, they have contagious diseases. We had everything passed. If you have a contagious disease, I'm sorry, but we cannot allow you into the country. So we were setting literally records, and all I was doing is showing that, and I use it sometimes. Sure. And in this case, I'm glad I used it. I can tell you that. But they were fantastic numbers. But I'm going to sleep with that chart always. I'll be sleeping with that chart. That chart was very important for a lot of reasons.
Well, I mean, would it be accurate to say that you're supportive of legal immigration, but we also need to shut down illegal immigration, and especially unvetted illegal immigration, because and that's not the same as saying that everyone who's an illegal immigrant is bad. In fact, I think most people who are illegal immigrants are actually good, but you can't tell the difference unless there's a solid vetting of who comes across the border. Does that accurately represent your position?
I say it very simply. They have to come in legally. They have to be checked. Yeah. Because look, Kamala was the border czar. Now she's denying it. Everything that I do, she's saying she was strong on the border. We're going to be strong. Well, she doesn't have to say it. She could close it up right now. They could do things right now. It's horrible. No tax on tips, and all of a sudden she's making a speech and there will be no tax on tips. I said that months ago. And by the way, they had just the opposite. They had not only tax on tips, but they hired 88,000 IRS agents, and many of them were assigned to go get waitresses and caddies and all of this on tips. They have a policy. They had a policy that they were really going to go after you, and were really harassing people horribly. And then all of a sudden, for politics, she says, she comes out with what I said, which I think is terrible. And I think it's also hitting them very hard. These people are fake. Now they're also saying they did a good job in the border. We had the worst numbers in the history of the world, not of our country. There's never been a country in history that has had a catastrophe like this. We've had, I believe, and I think you believe this too, you hear 12 million, 13. I believe it's over 20 million people came into our country, many coming from jails, from prisons, from mental institutions, or a bigger version of that is insane asylums, and many are terrorists. And I'll tell you what, they're coming not just from South America, they're coming from Africa, they're coming from all over the world. They're coming from Asia, they're coming from the Middle East, they're coming from countries that are stupidly and horribly bombing Israel October 7th. They're coming from all over the world. And you look at, it's so sad, October 7th, because it should have never happened. Yeah. It's so sad when you look at Ukraine. It should have never happened. We have a defective government. These are defective people, and they're not people that should be running it. But where you see it the best is the border, because you have millions of people coming in a month, and then she gets up and she tries to pretend like she's going to do something. She had 3.5 years. And by the way, they have another 5 months that they can do something, but they won't do anything. It's all talk. She's incompetent and he's incompetent. And frankly, I think that she's more incompetent than he is. And that's saying something because he's not too good.
Yeah. No, I think it is essential to have a secure border. I mean, you're really not a country unless you have a secure border, and
secure elections too.
You know, yeah, absolutely secure elections, and so it's just essential to have a real border, or we can't function as a country, and our service, our central services are being overwhelmed in a lot of cities. But as we were talking about earlier, I think having a legal immigration process that is smooth and efficient and done well, and speaking as someone who is a legal immigrant, and I think that I mean, like one way to think of it is, who do you want on your team? Who do you want on Team America? And I think we want to just say, okay, we want to let in people who are gonna, be great contributors to our society and to our economy, and and who do you want on the team? And it's not to say that, like in my opinion, actually, I'd say like probably most of the illegal immigrants actually are actually good, hardworking people. That's my opinion. But some are not, and you just have this sort of adverse selection process where, if somebody's if somebody's like uh, has a career in theft or robbery, I don't understand what's taken them so long to get here, because we're in such a target-rich environment. I mean, why aren't more people who have a career in, bad things coming here sooner? Because it's a piece of cake to go rob, houses in LA or New York, compared to other parts of the world. And in a lot of places in America, if you try to stop the person who's robbing you, you'll be arrested. So
it's right. I mean, what's happening with crime, and our police are so good, but they're not allowed to do their job. But I have to tell you, Elon, I hate to say it because it's such a downer to say it. I hate to say it. I hate it. But you have a lot of people that just shouldn't be. I think it's a much bigger number than you think. They're allowing, again, they're allowing people from their jails. And if you were running one of these countries where they're coming from, you would have had all of them. As an example, Venezuela, their crime is down 72%. They're taking their drug dealers. They're taking, frankly, their prisoners. They're emptying out their prisons. They're taking their criminals, their murderers, their rapists, and they're delivering them into.
That's what Castro did.
Yeah, well, he did on a much smaller scale.
Yeah.
It was a much smaller scale. But this is a massive scale because this is being done worldwide. But here's what's happening. Crime all over the world is down. And wait till you see the numbers that we have. This is migrant crime. This is crime that's going to be. And I saw it today in New York where somebody was knifed with raped the girlfriend of a man that stood there watching in New York in one of the shelters, and started pulling out the knives, and bad things happen today. But this is happening every day. These are rough people. These are people that are in jail for murder and all sorts of things. And they're releasing them into our country. And they're telling them, if you come back, we're going to kill you. We're going to give you the death penalty or kill you. So they don't want to come back. But these are rough people.
Yeah.
These are criminals that make our criminals look like nice people. And it's horrible what they're doing. And she's in charge of it because, now she's trying to say she had nothing to do with it. And she's such a liar because she was called the border czar the first day, and it was on the headlines of every newspaper. She's the border czar, and she never even went there. She went to one location which had nothing to do with where the problem is. She went in and out, I guess, because she was getting a lot of pressure, but had nothing to do with the problem is. But she was the border czar, and people can't allow them to get away with their disinformation campaign. Now she's trying to say that she wasn't really involved, and the whole thing is horrible. She was totally in charge. She could have shut the border down without him. He didn't know what he was doing anyway, so he wouldn't have even known what happened. You could shut the border down. He wouldn't even know the difference. But the fact is that she was border czar. But if you don't have to call her
Yes.
that, the fact is you could just call her. She was in charge of the border, and the border was the worst
Right.
ever.
It's simply not working.
No, it's
I mean,
horrible.
whether it's by whether it's a question of intention or competence, either way, we don't have a secure border, and we have people streaming over like it looks like a World War Z zombie apocalypse at times. And sometimes you got to sort of wonder, like, is it real or not? So because you see things, and you're like, is it real? So I went to the border at Eagle Pass, and I saw for myself in Texas, and I was like, okay, it's real. I'm like seeing this in real time. I actually posted the video like just live. I just flew there one day and just to see, hey, is this made up or real? And I'm just seeing people stream across the border, and I have to say, at least the people that I saw did not look friendly.
These
So
these are
people can look at my video and say, hey,
Yeah.
these people look friendly. I don't look super friendly. So
These are people that
um,
Elon would not be the same man if he had to walk across the street and look these people in the eye. These are rough people. These are really rough people coming across. And I know rough people. And these are people that we don't want in our country. And the caravans are coming in and they're putting and who's doing this are the heads of the countries. And you would be doing
yeah,
it, and so would I. And everyone would say, oh, what a terrible thing to say. The fact is, it's brilliant for them because they're taking all of their bad people, really bad people. And I hate to say this, the reason the numbers are much bigger than you would think is they're also taking their non-productive people. Now, these aren't people that will kill you. We have enough of them, but these are people that are non-productive. They are just not productive. I mean, for whatever reason, they're not
yeah.
workers or they don't want to work or whatever. And these countries are getting rid of non-productive people in the caravans in many cases, and they're also getting rid of their murderers and their drug dealers and the people that are
Yeah,
really brutal people. And they're coming into our country
yeah,
at levels that have never been seen before. And I saw an ad just before I got on the air. I'm walking over here, and I saw an ad by Kamala saying how she is going to provide border security. Where has she been for 3.5 years? For 3.5 years,
yeah. No.
we have 20 million people
This I
poured
think
in.
is
It's a terrible
yeah. I
thing.
think this, frankly, I think this is a fundamental existential issue for the United States. And if we have another 4 more years of open borders, and it's going to be even worse with another 4 more years, it's going to be even worse than it's been for the past 3.5 years. I'm not sure we've got a country
You don't
left
have a country
at that
left.
point.
Elon, if they get in, you will have 50 to 60 million people from all over the world, not South America only. We think of South America, we think of Honduras and El Salvador, Guatemala, and Mexico, the four. But it's not that. It's everywhere. They're coming in from
Yeah,
everywhere. And I had to stay in
yeah, I think
Mexico.
this is a super important
Yeah.
point. Like people, it's like basically when I went down there, I was like, well, where are people from? It's like almost no one was from Mexico. To
No,
be clear,
Mexico less,
it's
than
just the
the others.
border. It's just the border with Mexico, but the people coming in, it's Earth, the rest of Earth, and America is only about 4 or 5% of the population of Earth. It would only take a few percent of the rest of Earth to overwhelm everything in the
We're
U.S.
already
So
overwhelmed, Elon. We're overwhelmed. You had to see the news tonight about New York. New York, and I love that place, and what they're doing to it is horrible, what they're doing to it. And all the courts do is they
yeah,
try and focus on Trump. Okay, then let's focus on Trump, who did nothing wrong. I complain about a rigged election. Elon, what's happened is unbelievable. You have from Africa, from the Congo, they're coming from the Congo, and 22 people came in from the Congo recently, and they're murderers, and they're dropped. They drop them. They take them out of jails, which is very expensive, to maintain the jails. Although they don't do too much maintaining, I can tell you. But they take them out of jails, prisons. They take them out and they bring them to the United States. They deposit them in the United States and say, "Don't ever come back, or you're going to be executed." And they don't want to come back, but they won't come back.
sure.
But they're coming from Africa. They're coming from Asia. They're coming from the Middle East. They're coming from South
Well,
America.
just
They're
Earth,
coming from
rest of Earth,
everywhere.
basically.
And there are a lot of
Yeah,
really
everywhere on
bad
Earth.
ones.
It's just an everywhere on Earth thing, and it's just not possible for the United States to absorb everyone from Earth, or even a few percent of the rest of Earth. It's just not possible.
Well,
So
Elon, we're going to have
that's
to finish this up. We're going to have the largest deportation in history of this country, and we have no choice. Otherwise, we're going to have a country what they've done to our country. Think of it, with in Venezuela and in some of these other countries, crime is down 50, 60, 70, 80%. And you would be the same. You would have. I'll tell you what. Venezuela has not gotten rid of all of them. They've gotten rid of about 70% of their really bad people. Their jails are about 50% put into the United States. The same with other countries.
Sure.
Some are at 30%, some are at 50%. They're all different. But the bottom line is they're all going to be at 100%. Why wouldn't you put 100% of it? And they're doing it right now while this third-rate phony candidate. Don't forget, I beat Biden. He failed in the debate miserably. And, some people said, oh, gee, it's too bad. It's too bad he did so badly, or I did well in the debate. The first night they said, wow, one of the people at CNN said that was the greatest debate performance I've ever witnessed. And then 2 days later, they didn't talk about that. They just said he was bad. But that's okay. That's the way I get treated. And I don't mind that at all. What I can tell you is this. We cannot have a Democrat. We cannot have her. She's incompetent. She's as bad as Biden in a different. Look, she hasn't done an interview since this whole scam started. And say what you want. This was a coup. This was a coup of a president of the United States. He didn't want to leave, and they said we can do it the nice way or we can do it the hard way.
They just took him out back behind the shed and basically shot him.
What they did with this guy, and I'm no fan of his, and he was a horrible president, the worst president in history. And one of the reasons he was so bad, first of all, the Israeli attack would have never happened. Russia would never have attacked Ukraine, and we'd have no inflation. And we wouldn't have had the Afghanistan mess, if you think of it.
Well,
and we wouldn't have had Afghanistan. But we think of it. You take a few of those events away, and we have a different world. We would also have inflation was caused by oil.
I think you make an excellent point here, which is that when other countries can, that are are thinking about invading or doing bad things, when they're thinking about that, they're thinking about, okay, what's the American president going to do? And do they fear the American president, or is there someone they do not respect and do not fear? And I think they would rightfully be. I mean, but look at that the footage of the assassination. They're like, okay, President Trump is like, don't mess with me. I mean, that's like. Whereas I think people are not going to be, and they obviously have not been at all intimidated by Biden, and they certainly will not be intimidated by Kamala. And you have to really think of that in the context of global security. That if the American president is someone that, like, evil dictators are scared of, that makes a huge difference to the security of the world.
So I had a good relationship with Putin, despite the Russia hoax that lasted for over 2 years. Just a hoax created by Hillary Clinton and Adam Schiff, some just bad people, just sick people, frankly. I mean, Schiff is a sick person. He's going to end up probably being a senator. It's hard to believe. The whole thing is hard to believe. But, they put our country in danger with that stuff, too. They actually, when they make up stories, and you have to fight your way out of it for a long time. But I know Putin very well. I got along with him very well. He respected me, and it's just one of those things. And we would talk a lot about Ukraine. It was the apple of his eye. But I said, don't ever do it. Don't ever do it. I shut down Nord Stream 2. That was the big oil pipeline, the biggest pipeline in the world going all over Europe. I shut it down. Biden came, and then they say, I loved Russia. I was a friend of Putin, and I loved Russia. No. He actually said to me one time, he said, if you're my friend, I'd hate to see you as an enemy. I shut down his pipeline, the biggest pipeline. They were looking at that to fund. And this pathetic president gets in there. And the first thing he did, one of the early things he did, is he shut down Keystone XL pipeline, which is our pipeline that would have employed 48,000 people, pipeline workers, shuts it down. That was, a massive job that Obama refused to allow. I allowed it in my first week because it was jobs and it moved oil. And by the way, in a much more environmentally friendly way. It's underground. It's not a truck that catches on fire or a train that catches on fire. But think of it. he shut down the XL pipeline, the Keystone XL pipeline.
Yeah.
He shuts that down, and he approves the Russian pipeline.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. It's like, it's inconsistent. Certainly but I mean, I think it's just worth emphasizing, to listeners, the immense importance of whether the United States president is intimidating or not intimidating, and how much that matters to global security. Because there's some real tough characters out there, and if they don't think the American president is tough, they will do what they want to do.
I know every one of them.
And that puts the whole world in danger.
Elon, I know every one of them, and I know them well. I know Putin, I know President Xi, I know Kim Jong-un of North Korea. I know every one of them. And let me tell you, people will say, oh, this is terrible. He said, I'm not saying anything good or bad. They're at the top of their game. They're tough, they're smart, they're vicious, and they're going to protect their country, whether they love their country. They probably do. It's just a different form of love, but they're going to protect their country. But these are tough people at the top of their game. And when they see a Kamala or when they see Biden, Sleepy Joe, they can't even believe it. They can't believe this happened. All the stuff that you're seeing now, all the horror that you look at Israel, they're all waiting for an attack from Iran. Iran would not be attacking, believe me. When I was there, and I say it with respect, because I think we would have been good with Iran. I don't want to do anything bad to Iran, but they knew not to mess around. Iran was broke because I told China, if you buy from Iran oil, it's all about the oil. That's where the money is. But if you buy oil from Iran, you're not going to do any business with the United States. And I meant it. And they said, we'll pass. They didn't buy oil. Other countries, likewise. Sure. You want to buy, you're not doing business with the United States. And they were at a point where they had no money for Hamas. They had no money for Hezbollah. They had no money for any of these instruments of terror. And it was amazing. In fact, there were articles when I was leaving, which is hard to believe, actually, especially when you look at what's happened to our country. Our country is so bad right now. It's such a different place. We were respected. Think of it. 4 years ago, we were so respected to a point where when I said don't buy oil, they didn't buy oil, but they had no money, and Israel would have never been attacked. Zero chance. And again, I said to Vladimir Putin, I said, don't do it. You can't do it, Vladimir. You do it, it's going to be a bad day. You cannot do it. And I told him things that what I do, and he said, no way. And I said, way. And it's the last time we ever had the conversation. He would never have done. I got along well with him. I hope to get along well with him again. Getting along well with them is a good thing, not a bad thing. I got along well with Kim Jong-un. When I met with President Obama just before entering, it's a sort of a ritual. And I sat down with him and we talked. It was supposed to be for a very short period of time. It turned out to be a long period of time. I said, what's the biggest problem? He said, North Korea. I had that problem worked out very quickly. It was nasty at the beginning with Rocket Man and, all the different things. Yeah. But all of a sudden I got a call.
Those were some epic tweets, by the way.
Yeah, they were epic everything. He said that he has a red button on his desk. I said, I have a red button on my desk too, but my red button is much bigger and my red button works. And then I called him Little Rocket Man of Little Rocket Man. Anyway, here's the bottom line. All of a sudden I got a call from him. And they said they want to meet. They want to meet me. And we met, as you remember, we met in Singapore. We met also in Vietnam. And I got along with them great. We were in no danger. But President Obama thought we were going to end up in a war, a nuclear war with him. And let me tell you, he's got a lot of nuclear stuff, too. Exactly. He's got plenty of nuclear. He can do plenty of damage.
Yes, I mean, it's because, people like Kim Jong-un, they respond to strength, not weakness.
Well,
he and I had a good relationship.
Remember I met him and we walked onto his land. Nobody ever walked onto his land before. I walked onto. I wouldn't say. Let's bring up Secret Service again. I wouldn't say they were thrilled when I did that. I walked onto his land, and it was an amazing period. But we were not in danger with him because of me. I always say that we have enemies on the outside and we have enemies on the inside. We have some really bad people in our government and people that are controlling of the people. I mean, I'd mention names, but I really don't want to give them the credit. but we have some really bad, and I say they're more dangerous than Russia and China. If you have a smart president, a president that gets it, we are not in danger from those countries because they need us and they need our help. I mean, we forced Obama, if you think about it, Obama and Biden and Bush to a certain extent, in all fairness, forced Russia and China together. And if you're a history student, the first thing you learn is you cannot let Russia and China align. But then they also got, if you take a look, Iran, and they have North Korea. That's, they call it the axis of evil. In the old days, you had the axis of evil. Here we have a modern day axis of evil. These are powerful countries, very heavy nuclear, which is the biggest threat.
Yeah.
The biggest threat is not global warming, where the ocean's going to rise one-eighth of an inch over the next 400 years. And you'll have more oceanfront property, right? The biggest threat is not that. The biggest threat is nuclear warming, because we have 5 countries now that have significant nuclear power, and we have to not allow anything to happen with stupid people like Biden. Biden did something with Russia. There was no chance of him ever going in. And when I left, and then after I left, they started forming big armies on the border with Ukraine, right? And I looked at that, and I thought he was doing that because Putin's a good negotiator. I thought he was doing that to negotiate. But then Biden started saying such stupid things. For instance, he said that it can be a NATO country. Now, Russia, for as long as there's been NATO, has said we're never going to agree to that. And we go right up front and say that. And we did things and said things through this president with a low IQ, very low IQ. He had a low IQ 30 years ago, by the way, but now he might not even have a IQ at all. There's nothing on the board that goes this low. He said things that were so stupid that war had zero chance of happening if I were there. Zero chance. He was saying everything the opposite. Everything the opposite. And it's so sad because many more people have been killed in Ukraine than you read about. You don't read about how bloody it is and how disastrous.
Sure.
Hey, look, just in the 2 armies, you lost 500,000 people. And Ukraine's having a hard time. Ukraine, I don't know if you saw the article recently, and it's true. You don't hear the true story. But if you think about it, Russia's gone, Russia defeated Germany with us, and they defeated Napoleon. They've been around a long time. They're a big fighting force.
Yeah. Sure.
And it's very unfair. And Ukraine now doesn't have enough men. They're now using young men and very old men to fight. And we're in a very bad position. And I'm not going to blame exclusively, but I can tell you, I could have stopped that. And a smart president could have stopped that. It wouldn't have happened. But we had a man that actually made it more prevalent. It was so bad. The words that he was using, the stupid threats coming from a stupid face that he was using. I said, this guy's going to cause us a war. He's going to cause us. And let me tell you, it can lead to World War III. That can lead to World War III. The Middle East can lead to. We have numerous places that could end up in a World War III right now for no reason whatsoever.
I think you're right. I think people underrate the risk of World War III, and it's just when you're looking at the risk of global thermonuclear warfare, it's game over for humanity, and it's something that people have, I think, after the end of the Cold War, people have become complacent about, but they actually have forgotten that there are currently a lot of nuclear missiles that have targeting parameters for the United States from 100%. Other countries.
And one of the things we're going to do is we're going to build an Iron Dome over us. Israel has it. We're going to have the best Iron Dome in the world. We need it, and we're going to make it all in the United States. But we're going to have protection, because it just takes one maniac to start something. We're going to have protection, and we're going to have. Why shouldn't we have an Iron Dome? Israel has one. Some other places have one that nobody even knows about, frankly. But Israel has it. We're going to have an Iron Dome. But with all of that being said, to me that's so important, the most important. But with all of that being said, the election's coming up, and the people want to hear about the economy and the fact that they can't buy groceries because they don't have enough money to buy groceries. The inflation has killed them. Food prices are up 50, 60, even 100% in some cases. And this stupid administration allowed this to happen, and it's a shame. and that's the thing that people most care about, in my opinion. They care about the border a lot. And we discussed the border at great length. It's nice to have a forum like this where I can discuss something at length. And by the way, you think Biden could do this interview? Do you think that Kamala could do this interview? They would take a pass on you.
No, they could not.
So they don't need Elon. They don't need Elon screaming out questions. It's pretty sad when you think that somebody that does this for a living can't answer a question or is afraid to do an interview. And in her case, with a very friendly interview, she's got all friendly interviewers. It's pretty sad.
Yes, absolutely.
But the big thing now is the economy, Elon. And as much as I mean, I view nuclear as the single most important thing, but a lot of people don't. A lot of people don't understand that. But it doesn't have to. If I understand it, that's all you need. Because if I was president, you're not going to have that kind of a problem. But the thing that they really is making them angry is what Kamala and Biden have allowed to happen to the economy. It's a disaster with inflation. The inflation, it doesn't matter what you make. The inflation is eating you alive. If you're a worker or if you're just a middle income person, you can't afford. 4 years ago, 5 years ago, people were saving a lot of money. Today, they're using all their money and borrowing money just to live. It's a horrible thing that's happening. And we'll end that quickly.
Well, I think a lot of a lot of people just don't understand where inflation comes from. Inflation comes from government overspending because the checks never bounce when it's written by the government. So if the government spends far more than it brings in, that increases the money supply, and if the money supply increases faster than the rate of goods and services, that's inflation. So really, we need to have we need to reduce our government spending. And we need to re-examine. I think we need like a government efficiency commission to say like, hey, where are we spending money that's sensible? Where is it not sensible? And we need to live within our means. We're currently adding, I think, $1 trillion to the deficit roughly every 100 days.
That's right.
And the interest payments on the national debt have now exceeded the defense budget. It's on the order of $1 trillion.
It's interest,
and it keeps growing.
I rebuilt our military, largely rebuilt our military. Did a great job on it, which was so important. We had jets, we had fighters that were, and bombers that were 70 years old, and we did a great job in that. Then by the way, we gave 85 billion of it back to Afghanistan, if you can believe it. We gave them 85 billion. They're one of the largest sellers of military equipment in the world. They're selling what we gave them. That was one of the most embarrassing days in the history of our country. But if you think about, let's go back to the economy. We have to bring energy prices down. Energy started at the price of gasoline. Now your cars don't require too much gasoline, so you have a good, and you do make a great product. I have to say, I have to be honest with you. That doesn't mean everybody should have an electric car, but these are minor details. But your product is incredible. But the gasoline, Elon, is the cost of energy. Not only gasoline, it's the cost of heating your house and cooling your house. That has to come down. It's gone up 100%, 150, and 200%, and that has to come down. When that comes down, and we're going to drill, baby, drill. They stopped drilling, and then they went back to drilling because they went back to the Trump policy. But if they won the day after they get into office, this country will go out of business because they're going to go to an energy policy that's not sustainable. Wind and different things. You're not going to have anything. And I know you're a big fan of the AI. And I have to say that AI, and this is shocking to me, but AI requires twice the energy that the country already produces for everything. So we're going to have to build a lot of energy if our country will be competitive with China, because that's our primary competitor for this on the AI. You're going to need a lot of electricity. You're going to need tremendous electricity, like almost double what we produce now for the whole country, if you can believe it.
Sure. Well, just going, back to this, like this basic thing, that people try to make it sound complicated, but it's not. But inflation is caused by government overspending. Would you agree that we need to take a look at government spending and have perhaps a government efficiency commission that tries to make the spending sensible, and so the country lives within its means, just like a person
The
does.
waste is incredible, and nobody negotiates prices. You used to have a lot of people making jets, and you end up with two companies, and they'll probably try and merge at some point. I mean, I went through it like Air Force, just a thing like Air Force One. One of the first documents they asked me to sign, a general said, "Sir, would you please sign this document?" And what is it? Air Force One. That's with Boeing, which is basically two planes, two 747s. And the price was $5.7 billion for two planes. Now, now they're highly sophisticated.
That's insane.
They're even nicer than your plane, okay? But much more sophisticated. They're very, I won't say what's on it, but they got a lot of stuff on it. Anyway, but it's 5.7.
Sure. That's a crazy
it's
number.
a crazy number, but I said, I'm not going to pay 5.7. I'm not going to do it. I said, who made the deal? Obama and his people. I said, well, then I know the deal's no good. I'm not going to do it. And over a course of about 4 weeks, by my saying I'm not going to do it, I got the price reduced by $1.6 billion for the exact same plane, other than we had a nicer paint job, if you want to know the truth. But for the exact same plane, I saved one. And I said to Boeing, man, you guys must make a lot of money if you can reduce the price by that. But now what I do hear is that they're going back to the Biden administration and wanting big cost overruns, because they see these dopey suckers in there, and they'll end up getting some of the money back. But I shaved it by $1.6 billion for the exact same plane. And you can now take that and multiply that out times thousands of other items.
Multiply it by
the numbers are astronomical.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
Well, I mean, I think it would be great to just have a government efficiency commission that takes a look at these things and just ensures that the taxpayer money, the taxpayers' hard-earned money, is spent in a good way. And I'd be happy to help out on such a commission.
I'd love it
if it were formed.
Well, you're the greatest cutter. I mean, I look at what you do. You walk in and you just say, "You want to quit?" They go on strike. I won't mention the name of the company, but they go on strike, and you say, "That's okay. You're all gone. You're all gone." So every one of you is gone, and you are the greatest. You would be very good. Oh, you would love it. But if you look at Argentina.
Well, I'd be happy to help
by the way,
out.
congratulations. I just looked at the number of people that are listening to you and I chat. We'll call it a chat. But congratulations. This is very good. I mean, it's great. And you're an interesting character. The new head of a place called Argentina, and he's a big,
Malay's awesome.
he's great. And he's a big MAGA fan, that he ran on MAGA. And he took it to an extreme too. He ran on MAGA, and I hear he's doing really a terrific job. It's called Make Argentina Great Again. It worked out perfectly. He came in, he bought a lot of hats, he brought everything, but he's doing a big job. He really cut. And I'm hearing they're starting to do pretty well. Inflation's getting down. They had like 2,000%.
Exactly.
They had inflation like not normal inflation. They had the real deal. But we're going to have that pretty soon. I think we have the worst inflation we've had in 100 years. They say it's 48 years. I don't believe it. I think we have the worst. They don't include a lot of the items that should be included.
Yeah. Well, it's just from government overspending and not spending taxpayer money effectively, and having just like so many departments you can't even name them all. And what Malay is doing is he's cutting government spending. He's simplifying things. He's putting in regulations that make sense. And Argentina overnight is experiencing a giant improvement in prosperity. But it's also a lesson for the United States, which is that Argentina used to be one of the most prosperous countries in the world. In the 30s, 40s, and because of bad government policy, it ruined the country. And if you take Venezuela, for example, Venezuela should be incredibly prosperous. They have phenomenal reserves of everything, oil, everything, and it should be prosperous. But if the government's wrong, it impoverishes the people. And so I think we should not be complacent in the United States in thinking that and taking our prosperity for granted, because if with bad government policy, we can run the country into the ground. And that's just something people should bear in mind. Don't take prosperity for granted.
Well, think of education. So we're ranked at the bottom of every list of the top 40. We're ranked number 40, number 38. Uh, Norway, uh, Switzerland, Sweden, different countries are ranked good. Actually, China's pretty close to the top. They're a top 6 or 7, but we're ranked at the bottom, almost at the bottom, 38, 39, 40. In other words, horrible. And yet we spend more per pupil than any other country in the world. So we spend more. And what I'm going to do, one of the first acts, and this is where I need an Elon Musk. I need somebody that has a lot of strength and courage and smarts. I want to close up Department of Education, move education back to the states, where
Yeah.
where states like Iowa, where states like Idaho, not every state will do great because states that basically aren't doing good now. You look at Gavin Newsom, the governor of California. He's terrible. He does a terrible job. So he's not going to do great with education. But of the 50, I would bet that 35 would do great, and 15 of them, or 20 of them will be as good as Norway. Norway is considered great. You can name them. I mean, they're so good. Some of these countries are so good. But if you go into some of these really well-run states, we have states that don't know what debt is. We have states that have low taxes, no debt, everybody working. They're really well run.
Sure.
And maybe they have certain advantages in terms of location, in terms of the land or the sun, and the water and the whole thing. There are a lot of advantages that some people have. But if you moved education back to the 50, you'll have some that won't do well, but they'll actually be forced to do better because it'll be a pretty bad situation. But if you think about it, you'll have some of these states. I'll bet you'd have 30, 35 states. It'll be much better. And you know what it'll cost? Less than half what it is in Washington. And these people don't care about the students in these, faraway states. And it'd be unbelievable.
Yeah. I think you're making a good point in that if the states have to if each state has to compete against other states, then people will naturally move to states where it's better.
Well, like California, as we said, it's a badly run state. I could go through. I got so many friends that are in those states, even if they're Democrats. I hate to mention certain states, but Illinois is badly run with Pritzker. He's a real loser. But some of these places are just badly run. But it's almost going to force them to run better, and they won't do it good initially. But you're not going to do worse than you're doing right now. And I would say that the cost, you would cut your cost by 50 or 60%. And you'd have a little monitor. You want to make sure they're teaching English as an example. Give us a little English, right?
Sure.
Right?
Yeah. No, but I mean, too much. I mean, some of these governors are doing so badly. I mean, they got so many people moving out of their state. They should get U-Haul Salesman of the Year award because they're driving so much U-Haul.
It's actually amazing.
People moving out.
Isn't it amazing to you as a businessman that they can even survive? Like Illinois, so many people are leaving, and you wonder, how do they survive? I mean, how do they survive? I saw where you left California and you moved to Texas. Texas does a great job. But, I mean, I just wonder, how do these states survive when big businesses, a big oil company just left California, as you know, and they moved to Texas. How do these big states survive when they lose so many businesses and their taxes are already really high? The taxes are among the highest taxes. You almost wonder, how do they continue on? And in many cases, the governors don't do a good job in their crime-ridden places. You wonder, how do they continue to just go on? It's not a good situation.
I mean, I think the only thing that's going to force some of these states to change is if they risk bankruptcy and they're not getting bailed out by the federal government.
Right. Well,
that's the only thing that's going to get them to change.
You remember the area in California where they had that, where I guess somebody had sticky fingers and they stole a lot of money, and they went into a form of chapter, and it was very nasty for a period of time. But now it's probably the most popular place in all of California. So at some point, something like that may have to happen. But the problem is you can't penalize people that loan money to the state when you have incompetent people like a Pritzker. Look, the family didn't want him in the family business. and then he ends up being governor of Illinois. So you know what, is he going to be? Is he going to be a great governor? And you know, you have people. I could name every one of them. I got to know every one of these, and some are very good, and some are just horrible.
Well, I think that, I mean, the larger point here, too, you know, as you're saying, like a lot of people are concerned about the economy, a lot of people are concerned about inflation, and inflation is effectively a tax on people that that save money,
Yeah.
and for people that are working day to day, it's just a form of taxation, and if we can solve the government spending problem, we'll solve the inflation problem, which means people will have a better standard of living,
Yeah.
and that's a really big
Well,
deal.
the people that got hurt worst are the people that did it the way they were taught to do it all through, you know, their younger life and their young life and their whole life. The people that saved money and then they got no interest on their money and inflation destroyed them. And frankly, they were almost better off if they didn't do anything like that. I mean, those people have been absolutely decimated, and we're going to bring those people back and help those people. We've got to get the prices down. You know, when I look at bacon costing 4 or 5 times more than it did a few years
Sure.
ago, when you look at some of the food products in grocery stores, people go, they can't believe it. They used to be able to buy a whole cart, and today, you know, a lot of people just don't have the money. They go in and they can't buy anything. They look at
Yeah,
it's sticker
I
shock.
think
They call it
yeah.
sticker shock, right?
I think it really just comes, like I said, I think it just comes down to really, I guess, two things, which is that if you solve government overspending, you solve inflation, which improves living
Right.
standards of the average person, and then if you deregulate, like have sensible regulations, so because a lot of the regulations are nonsensical and cause the cost to be extreme for no reason, but unless you've got effective deregulation. Like Reagan did a great job on deregulation in the 80s, but it's been 40 years since we had
That's right.
anyone really. I mean, during your administration, we made some progress, but I think there's an opportunity to make, I think, radical progress with sensible regulation. And if
Well,
if
Elon,
those two things, yeah, those are the big deals.
we set a record. We did more deregulation and more restrictions on all of the different businesses than any other president. Remember, I had the rule for every one we put in, you have to get rid of 10 or 12. And we did
Yes.
radical cuts on all of that. And a lot of that's being put back by this administration. And we did radical cuts on things that weren't necessary. But we were all set. You know, we had the best economy ever maybe in the world. And then what happened is COVID came in and we had to focus on that and nobody knew what it was. And I always say I got good marks on economy, good marks on military. We knocked out ISIS. We did so many different things. We rebuilt. But, you know, I never got the credit that we really deserved on what we did with COVID. We never got the credit. But had that not happened, a gift from China, from Wuhan, came in from Wuhan, the Wuhan labs, and I always said it, and it turned out to be right. But had that not happened, we were set to start reducing debt. We were going to reduce taxes further. I gave the largest tax cuts, and we were going to reduce taxes still further for middle income people, not only businesses. But we did it for businesses because they're the ones that's why we had the great job numbers. But we were set to really start reducing debt. And, you know, we're sitting on the biggest pile of liquid gold anywhere in the world, bigger than Saudi Arabia, bigger than Russia. And we were going to drill and we were going to make so much money. We were going to supply Europe with oil. I had stopped the Russian pipeline and we were going to supply them with oil and gas. We were going to make a fortune. And then the COVID came in and we really had to divert. Then what happened is when they came in, you know, we kept a lot of businesses alive. If I didn't do what we did, we would have had a 1929 type depression. But the problem is when Biden came in, he got trillions of dollars and just started spending it stupidly. You didn't need it anymore. You know, we got over that bad period where everybody was dying and feeling, you know, it was just not a good period. Interestingly, you know, during his administration, many more people died during his administration of COVID than during my administration. And we really got the brunt of it. But people don't realize more people died during his administration than ours. But it diverted us from doing what I wanted to do. But we had the greatest for, you know, almost 3 years. We had the great, and you know that probably better than anybody. So many of your friends said to me, the best years we've ever had in business were during the Trump years, and also said that uh, African American, Hispanic American were so incredible. They were having the best. Asian American women, men, young people without a diploma, young people that graduated from the best colleges, from MIT, from the Wharton School, from all of the great colleges, Harvard. They were doing better, and people without a diploma were doing better, and everybody was happy. And then COVID came, and
Sure.
we had the problem is they spent trillions and trillions of dollars. They wasted. They shouldn't have taken any money, and we wouldn't be having inflation right now, which is killing our country.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I should probably say something about like, maybe my views on, climate change
Yeah.
and oil and gas, because I think it's probably different from what most people would assume. Because my views are actually pretty, I think, moderate in this regard, which is that I don't think we should vilify the oil and gas industry and the people that have worked very hard in those industries to provide the necessary energy to support the economy. And if we were to stop using oil and gas right now, we would all be starving, and the economy would collapse. So it's I don't think it's right to sort of vilify the oil and gas industry, and the world has a certain demand for oil and gas, and it's probably better if the United States provides that than some other countries, and it would help with prosperity in the U.S. And at the same time, obviously, my view is like we do over time want to move to a sustainable energy economy, because eventually you do run out of. I mean, you run out of oil and gas. It's not there. It's not infinite. Um, and there is some risk. I think the risk is not as high as a lot of people say it is with respect to global warming. But I think if you just keep increasing the parts per million in the atmosphere long enough, eventually it actually simply gets uncomfortable to breathe. People don't realize this. If you go past 1,000 parts per million of CO2, you start getting headaches and nausea. And so we're now in the sort of 400 range. We're adding, I think, about roughly 2 parts per million per year. So I mean, it still gives us. So what it means is like we still have quite a bit of time, but so there's not like we don't need to rush, and we don't need to like stop farmers from farming, or you know prevent people from having steaks, or
Right.
basic stuff
Right.
like that. Like you can leave the farmers alone.
I agree.
in
How
my
crazy
opinion.
is that? Where
I mean,
you have farmers that are not allowed to farm anymore and have to get rid of their cattle, and the whole world is
yeah,
a
that's
little
silly.
crazy. But it's largely taken its lead from us. I do say though, I've heard in terms of the fossil fuel, because even to create your electric car and create the electricity needed for the electric car, fossil fuel is what really creates that at the generating plants. And, so you sort of can't get away from it at this moment. I mean, someday you might be able to, but I do hear we have anywhere from 100 to 500 years left. Much of it hasn't even been found yet.
Yeah.
But there are tremendous, like Anwar. I got Anwar in Alaska approved. Ronald Reagan couldn't do it. Nobody could do it. Everybody tried. Nobody could do it. I got it approved. The first thing that Biden did was unimprove to get rid of it. He ended
Yeah.
it. His secretary went in and she ended it. And what a disgrace. That's Anwar. That's bigger, or they think it could be bigger than Saudi Arabia in Alaska. Could be bigger than Saudi Arabia. But they went in and they terminated it. And I'll get it going very quickly, because not only is it big for Alaska, I mean, you talk about economic development, that for the United States, I mean, that is, they say bigger than Saudi Arabia or the same size, and pure, really good stuff. And, they end it. So I think we have, perhaps hundreds of years left. Nobody really knows. But during that time, something will come around that will be very good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and my estimate would be, a little more aggressive than that, but it's not the sort of like we're all going to die in 5 years stuff. That's obviously BS. But I mean, my view is like if you just look at sort of the parts per million that increments every year, you get sort of 2 or 3 parts per million every year of CO2. I mean, I think of that, it's problematic if it accelerates, if you start going from 2 or 3
Right.
to say 5. And then there may be some situations where you get just a step change increase in the CO2. Um, and I think we don't want to get too close to 1,000 ppm, because like that's actually makes it uncomfortable to breathe. Like just existing in 1,000 ppm CO2 is uncomfortable. That's like that's considered like an industrial hazard.
Right.
Just so it's that's actually, you start getting headaches and stuff. So it's even without global warming, it's not comfortable to live. So you don't want to get too close to that. But I mean, I think I think we want to just move over, and if I don't know, 50 to 100 years from now, we're I don't know, mostly sustainable, I think that'll probably be okay. Um, so it's not like the house is on fire immediately, but I think it is something we need to move towards. And on on balance, it's probably better to move there faster than slower. But like I said, without vilifying the oil and gas industry, and without causing hardship in the short term, I think this can be done. Um, without people can still have a stake, and they can still drive gasoline cars, and it's okay. It's like, it's not, I don't think we should vilify people for it, but I think we should just generally lean in the direction of sustainability. And I actually think solar is going to be a majority of Earth's energy generation in the future, and it's certainly trending that way. And so you get the solar power, combine that with batteries, so because obviously the sun doesn't shine at night, and then you use that to charge the electric cars, and you have a long-term sustainable solution. And that's what Tesla is trying to move things towards, and I think we've made a lot of progress in that regard. But when you look at our cars, we don't believe that environmentalism, that caring about the environment should mean that you have to suffer. So we make sure that our cars are beautiful, that they drive well, that they're fast, they're sexy. I mean, they're cool. In fact, literally, I made this sexy joke: Model S, Model 3, Model X, and Y spells out sexy. It's probably the most expensive joke out there. But I don't know, I like cheesy humor, so but I'm a big fan of, like, let's have an inspiring future, and let's work towards a better future, and we can do so without demonizing
Right.
people.
I'm okay. It's very interesting. You use the word global warming, and today they use the word climate change because you have some places that go up, and so they were getting themselves in a little trouble with the word global warming, because not every place is warming. Some places are going the opposite direction. But I'm sort of waiting for you to come up with solar panels on the roofs of your cars and on the trunks of the cars, and it just seems like something that at some point you will come up with. I'm sure you'll be the first, but it would seem that a solar panel on the roofs, on flat surfaces, on certain surfaces might be good.
Yeah.
At least in certain areas of the country where you have the world,
Sure.
where you have the sun. But I would think, and I have no idea because that's not my world, but I would think that this would be something that would be interesting. But the one thing that I don't understand is that people talk about global warming or they talk about climate change, but they never talk about nuclear warming. And to me,
Sure.
that's an immediate problem, because you have, as I said, 5 countries where you have major nuclear, and probably some others are getting there, and that's very dangerous. That's where you need a strong American president, because you don't want to have this proliferation. But you have 5 countries and getting more. China is much less than us right now, but they're going to catch us sooner than people think. They're way lower. Russia and us are number 1, and I mean, we're sort of tied. And China is far behind, but they're developing at a level that you're not surprised to hear, very fast. They'll end up catching up, maybe even surpassing. But to me, the biggest problem is not climate change. It's not, and everything's a problem, but it's degrees. To me, the big problem is the nuclear power. The power of nuclear is so great. And when I talk about I'll prevent World War III, I will. But the truth is that you have to, because this is no longer army tanks going back and forth and shooting at each other. This is a level of destruction and power that nobody's ever seen before.
Yeah, and actually, there's the bad side of nuclear, which is a nuclear war, very bad side. But there's also, I think, nuclear electricity generation is
Absolutely.
underrated.
You're right.
And it's actually, people have this fear of nuclear electricity generation, but it's actually one of the safest forms of electricity generation. It's just a huge misunderstanding. Um, and if you look at the injuries and deaths, caused by, say, I mean, I'm not going to try to pick on coal mining, but just any kind of mining operation. And there's a certain number of injuries and deaths per year. And you compare that to nuclear. Nuclear is actually way better. So it's underrated as an electricity source, and I think it's something that's worth reconsidering. But there's so much regulation that people can't get it done. So that
maybe they'll have to change the name. The name is just, it's a rough name. There are some areas like when you see what happened in
bad branding.
Right, we'll have to rebrand it. We'll have to give it a good name. We'll name it after you or something. No, it has a branding problem. When you see what happened,
it does have a branding problem.
When you see what happened in Japan, where they say you won't be able to go on the land for about 3,000 years. Did you ever see that? And in Russia, where they had the problem, where they, there's a lot of bad things happened, and they have a problem. And they say that in 2,000 years, people will start to occupy the land again. You realize it's pretty bad.
No, that's not true.
But you're right about it. It's amazing.
It's actually not that bad. So like after Fukushima happened in Japan, like people were asking me in California, are we worried about like a nuclear cloud coming from Japan? I'm like, no, that's crazy. It's not even dangerous in Fukushima. I actually flew there and ate locally grown vegetables on TV to prove it. And I donated a solar water treatment, a solar powered system for a water treatment plant. And
yeah, but you haven't been feeling so well lately, and I'm worried about it.
No, but I mean,
I'm only kidding.
It's fine, It's like Hiroshima and Nagasaki were bombed, but now they're like full cities again. So it's really not something that
That's right.
So it's not as scary as people think, basically. But let's see. I mean, are there some other topics we should touch on? Like lawfare. I think we need to be concerned about
what they've done to this country.
Obviously,
yeah. Well, we just won the big case in Florida. This was a Biden administration did something that's never been done in this country, and that's go after their political opponent, me, with this nonsense and just nonsense. And the big case in Florida we won, but they always pick a judge and a jury, and they use local DAs, they use the local attorney generals, like Fani, Fani, spelled Fani, Fani. And it's all a big hoax, and it's all run from there. Like in Manhattan, one of the top people from the Justice Department went in, ran Manhattan, ran the state. The Letitia James deal was run by a person from the Department of Justice, Biden. They've never done this before, and they set up a very bad precedent. It's called lawfare, warfare. It's a terrible thing, and never happened in our country. It does happen in banana republics and third world countries, but it's never happened. And the incredible thing is it actually drove my numbers up because people see, fortunately I have a platform like you, or, in all fairness, like a conversation like this, where I can talk about it and people understand. I mean, you fight for election integrity and you end up getting indicted because you're fighting for election integrity. And when the day comes that you can't fight for election integrity, you don't have a country anymore. So what happens is they went after their political opponent, me. Now Biden's, close to vegetable stage, in my opinion. Okay, I looked at him today on the beach, and I said, why would anybody allow him? The guy could barely walk. Why would anybody allow him? Does he have a political advisor that thinks this looks good? He thinks this looks good because it looks so bad, and it's ridiculous. I mean, and he's been doing that for a long time. He can't lift the chair. The chair weighs about 3 ounces. It's meant for children and old people to lift, and he can't lift it. The whole thing is crazy.
Well, he's clearly. He's clearly like we just don't have a president. Right
you
now.
don't have a president, and she's going to be worse than him because she is a San Francisco liberal who destroyed San Francisco, and then as Attorney General, she destroyed California. You talk about location, and we're talking about the sun and the water and all. There's nothing better than California. She has destroyed that. She was the original DA. She was the original in San Francisco. She was the original Attorney General in California. What she has done to California is, well, you know better than I do. You just left California for a lot of those reasons. And what she's done with crime, with cashless bail, where you kill somebody. I mean, we have states there you kill somebody and they let you out right away. I mean, you don't have to even put up, and then they never find the people unless they kill again, and then they let them out again. Our country is becoming a very dangerous place. And she is a radical left San Francisco liberal. And now she's trying to protect. Now she's looking like she wants to be more Trump than Trump, if that's possible. I don't think it's possible, but she wants to be more Trump than Trump.
Yeah.
I want a wall.
I think that's,
she wants to release all the prisoners that are in detention. And some of these guys are really bad.
Right.
That just came out today. She doesn't want to build the wall, even though the walls work. Walls and wheels. You know, in your business, everything you do is obsolete. Almost, well, not the tunnels, but everything is obsolete. Even your rocket ships, they're like a month later, they're obsolete. You find a better way to. The only thing that's not obsolete is a wall and a wheel. And the wall, I built hundreds of miles of wall, and that's why we had such good numbers. I was going to add 200 miles. We bought it. We could have flipped it up in 3 weeks. And they sold it for 5 cents on the dollar. That meant, I said, wow, that means that they actually do want to have open borders. She wants to have open borders. And now she's going like she's tough on the border. It's such a lie.
Yeah, this is simply not true. This is simply not true.
And everybody knows it's not true. It's a disgrace that she can say it.
No, I mean, obviously, what's happening sort of overnight is they're rewriting history and making Kamala sound like a moderate when in fact she is far left, like far left.
Worse than Bernie Sanders. She is considered more liberal by far than Bernie Sanders. She's a radical left lunatic. And if she's going to be our president, very quickly, you're not going to have a country anymore. And she'll go back to all of the things that she believes in. She believes in defunding the police. She believes in no fracking, zero. Now all of a sudden she's saying, no, I really want to see fracking. If they got in, the day she got in, she'll end fracking. And by the way, if people didn't think that, the lunatics that really believe in that, they won't vote for her. Like the Palestinians and Israel. She is so anti-Israel, and she's bad for both. Biden actually did something that was impossible. Both sides hate him, both sides. That was a hard thing to do, unification.
Yeah, no. I mean, Netanyahu came to give a talk to a joint Senate and House sitting, and I was there, and Kamala stood him up. What does that say?
I think it's highly disrespectful. And I say, if you're a Jewish person or if you believe in Israel, if you're a person that, is a very pro-Israel, if you vote for her, it's worse than Biden. And Biden was bad. But if you vote for her, you ought to have your head examined. And you see tonight, I mean, as we're doing this, I'm seeing reports coming that they expect an attack tonight or tomorrow from hundreds and maybe thousands of rockets. Their Iron Dome, as they call it, as we all call it, but their shield that they build, that can be swamped. We'll use the term that's appropriate, swamped. But they swamp it by shooting enough missiles. You know this better than anybody. By shooting enough missiles, they can't defend themselves. They just obliterate the whole place. And that's what some people think they're looking to do. And we have no leadership. There's no respect for the United States of America with these people. And I'm telling you, she'll be worse than him because she's a believer in being radical left, and he wasn't.
I think you're right. I mean, it's important for the public that may be listening to this to look at Kamala's track record, before the last month, and say, is that a track record you agree with? And I think if you're an independent moderate, you definitely would not agree with it, because it is her behavior has been far left, and we're seeing just an overnight propaganda attempt to rewrite history and make it sound like Kamala's moderate when she in fact is not moderate.
Well, her running mate approved, signed into legislation, tampons in boys' bathrooms. Okay, Now, that's all
that's
I have
weird.
to hear. Tampons in boys' bathrooms. And that means she believes in that too. I mean,
that's
she
not
picked
okay.
this guy because he was the closest to her. A lot of people thought she'd pick sort of the opposite, but she picked an anti-Israel radical left person. But she is far worse, they say, than Bernie Sanders. If we have her as a president, if we have a Democrat at this moment as the president, I don't think our country can survive.
I think it's a massive. I think we're in massive trouble, frankly, with the Kamala administration, and that's my honest opinion. And I think really it's essential that you win for the good of the country for this election. And I mean that's I'm just stating my opinion. Now you may have seen this, but I got a letter from the EU Commission, like saying, to not have disinformation on during this discussion that we're having, and there's a lot of attempts to do censorship and to force censorship even on Americans from other countries, and what do you think about that?
Well, I know the European Union very well. They take great advantage of the United States in trade, as you know. We, through a different forum, NATO, we protect them. And yet, if you build a car in the United States, you can't sell it in Europe. You just can't sell it. It's impossible. The same thing with our farmers. Our farmers find it very difficult to do business. We have a deficit with them of $250 billion, which people don't know. It sounds so nice, the European Union, but let me tell you, they're not as tough as China, but they're bad. And I let them know it. And that's probably why they notified you. No, they don't treat our country well. We defend them, with Ukraine. So we're in for 250 billion, and they're in for about 71 billion, and they have the same size. If you add up the European nations that in terms of an economy, it's about the same size. Wouldn't you say as us? And they're in, and they're in much greater risk. They're right there. We have an ocean separating us from, in this case, the enemy would be Russia. It used to be for the Soviet Union, but let's assume they're close enough. And what happens is they're in for 70 something million. I think even less than that billion, and we're in for about 250 billion, and it could be a lot higher than that. And I say, why aren't you going to equalize? Why aren't they paying what we're paying? And they're in much more, it's much more important for them because of the fact that, they're right near there. I mean, they're all sort of in that location. We're not. But they should, and I did it with NATO. There were only 7 countries that were paid up in NATO out of 28 at the time. And the United States was the United States was subsidizing NATO, tremendously subsidizing NATO. And I said, I went in and I said, you got to pay up. If you don't pay up, we're not going to defend you any longer. I took a lot of heat, but you know what happened? Billions and billions of dollars came flowing in. And
I think a lot of the public isn't aware of the fact that the United States pays a disproportionate share of the NATO expenses.
And then we get taken advantage of on trade. So think about it.
Well, I mean, the point of NATO is defending Europe, and it's it's like, then okay, well, why is the United States paying disproportionately more to defend Europe than Europe? That doesn't make sense. That's unfair, and that is an appropriate thing to address.
Well, when you talk about cost cutting and savings and everything else, I mean, honestly, look, there's nobody that feels worse about the Ukraine situation than I do, because I know it would have never happened. I know Zelensky. He was very honorable to me, because when they went with the Russia hoax and they said I had a phone call with him, he said it was a perfect phone call. It was a great phone call. He could have grandstanded and, said, oh, he was very threatening. He said, no, it was a very nice phone call. I called him up to congratulate him on his win, and you end up getting impeached because these people are lunatics. I was talking about the difference from the people within and the enemies on the outside. In many cases, the people from within are more dangerous for our country than the Russians and the Chinas. If you have a smart president, you're not going to have a problem with them. You're going to do things.
Yeah.
Now, they've taken advantage of us incredibly, but you're going to do things with the right person.
Yeah, well, I think it's obvious that you're a believer and an advocate of free speech, because during your first term as president, you were attacked relentlessly every day, often very unfairly with with false attacks, and you didn't try to shut down the media. You didn't try to uh, inhibit their freedom of speech, and I think that says a lot.
Well, the good thing is that you and I have, and some people, very few, we can get the word out. Although sometimes it's hard because they don't want to print it. Like we're having a great conversation right now. Kamala wouldn't have this conversation. She can't because she's not
No.
smart. She's not a smart person, by the way. She can't have this conversation. And Biden, we don't even have to talk about it. I mean, he couldn't have this conversation. He would have given up on the first half of a question. He would have walked out. He would have said, "Where am I? Where am I going?" So anyway, but
Yeah,
no, he wouldn't have this.
that's true.
Not a lot of people would have this conversation, but we cover a lot of territory. But the beauty is that we can have a conversation, and
Yes, you
I'm
can actually
able
have a
to get it out without because I
I
get
think
treated unfairly
this
by
is
the
a really
press.
big point. You can actually have a conversation with you,
Yeah, it's nice, isn't it?
and you can't have a conversation with Biden or Kamala. It's like it's not possible.
That's
Um,
it's
so this is like talking to an NPC.
no.
So it's just
Well,
impossible.
but think of it. We need a man or person who's unbelievably sharp in order to stop all the nuclear danger and all the dangers that I'm talking about. And I got along with all these. I got along with Kim Jong Un. We had dinner. We had everything, and he really liked me, and I got along with him really well. By the way, he's the absolute boss over there. A lot of people said, "Oh, do you think he really?"
That's for
Let me
sure.
tell you, I saw things that you don't want to know about. He is the boss. But we had a good relationship, and he doesn't like Biden. He considers him a stupid man. He said he's a stupid man. Well, at least he speaks his mind. But in this country, you're not sort of allowed to say it. But I guess you are. You should be allowed to say it if
Yeah.
it's true. But we need smart people, and we need people that have an ability to lead. And she doesn't have that ability. Can you imagine? Now,
Yeah.
Chairman Xi very well. Can you imagine her and him negotiating, or
No, it's
even
silly. It would be
standing
silly.
together? It is, the whole
Yeah.
concept is ridiculous. She is terrible. She's terrible. But she's getting a free ride. I
It
saw
was,
a picture of her
yeah.
on Time Magazine today. She looks like the most beautiful actress ever to live. It was a drawing, and actually,
Yeah.
she looked very much like our great first lady, Melania. She looked, she looked, didn't look,
Yeah.
she didn't look like Camilla. That's right. But of course, she's a beautiful woman. So we'll leave it at that, right?
Yeah, well, maybe like I think part of what people in America want to, people in America want to feel excited and inspired about the future. They want to feel like the
It's
future is
true.
going to be better than the past, and that America is going to do things that are greater than we've done in the past, reach
Right.
new heights that make you proud to be an American, and excited about the future.
They want the
And I
American
think
dream
just
back. They want the American dream back. More important than anything else. It's like you don't have that today because the people, they've been just sucked. They see incompetent people running our. You know, the Biden thing is very interesting. People just found him to be incompetent. And when I debated him, I was like, "Is this for real?" It was
Yeah, it was just absurd. But I think there are like some grand projects that we could do. I mean, I think like we could build a base on the moon. We could send American astronauts to Mars. We
right.
could build high speed
Yep.
connections that are more advanced than anything else in the world between our cities, so people have fast transport. Um, it's possible to solve traffic with tunnels.
That's right.
We've we already made great progress in Vegas doing that, and and just do things that are exciting and inspiring and make the future feel like it's better than the past.
Well, I saw
And
what you did in Vegas, and I'll tell you, it was amazing. I got to see. I took a big glimpse at it, and it's incredible. It's incredible, and you could do that all over. You could do that all over. It's deep.
yeah,
You
and
don't even need much structure. Assuming you're in the right areas.
no, it's straightforward.
It's amazing.
So I think we could do some things that like China's got incredible high speed rail between its cities, but I think it's actually possible with tunnels if with deregulation, with an ability to actually where it's like legal to actually do the tunnels. Then you could have high speed tunnels that are actually better than anything else in the world high-speed transport between cities. And that would be something that, Americans can say, wow, okay, we've got something that's cooler than anyone else in the world. That's the kind of thing that makes you proud to be an
and
American.
much safer than surface trains, where there is a danger there, with people, with crazy people. It's much safer, much better. And, it's sad because I've seen some of the greatest trains. I find it fascinating. And I've seen the systems and how they work, and the bullet trains, they call them, I guess. And they go unbelievably fast, unbelievably comfortable, with no problems. And we don't have anything like that in this country, not even close. And it doesn't make sense that we don't. Doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and I think also, like, there's, I'm kind of hopping on the excess regulation, but I think something that that I think people can generally understand is that what happens with laws and regulations is that there's more and more of them every year, and unless there's a process to clean them up, eventually everything becomes illegal, and that actually it slows down the development of new technologies. I mean, if you take the sort of, like, I think there's room for some reform at the FDA for improving the speed with which we approve drugs that could help save lives and improve people's lives. And
I worked very hard on that. We got that down to the lowest number ever, and we got therapeutics approved in the FDA that people can't even believe the speed. But I took them on. I don't think they like me too much, but I got things approved in the FDA at numbers that they wouldn't believe. And it's a very bureaucratic group. Actually, it's a fine group of people in many cases. I got to know a lot of them, but I was pushing them really hard for Regeneron, for so many different things that were really pretty amazing. But the FDA takes too long. It's 12 years to get a product approved. I got it down to 4, and I got some things done very quickly. But it's really something that is going to have to be worked on because it takes too long. Just takes too long.
Yeah, it just takes too long, and it's you end up in the same with the approval, but it just it takes years instead of something that I think could potentially take months, and that improves people's lives. I think I just wanted to hop on this point that, like, there has to be an active process for reducing rules and regulations, because otherwise they just keep building up every year, and you get, like, hardening of the arteries, and eventually everything's illegal or takes forever, and then we just ossify as a society. We can't make any progress, and it's a really big deal.
Elon, just getting back to the FDA for 1 second, I got something done called Right to Try. This is where you can go in, and if you're terminally ill, you can use a space age, medicine or whatever it may be. We have the best doctors, the best labs in the world. We really do. But people would go to other countries because you couldn't use the product, even if they thought it worked, because it's going through the FDA. I got it approved where you can, you basically, look, nobody wanted, the doctors didn't want it because of the liability. The country didn't want it, our country, because they didn't want to get sued. These are people terminally ill. The insurance companies didn't want it, and the pharmaceutical companies, nobody wanted it. I got everybody into a room, and we came up with an agreement that you won't get sued. And also, they didn't want it on their record. If somebody's terminally ill and they die after taking a drug, they didn't want that on their record. So we set a separate list. If somebody was, so it wouldn't count as a negative. Okay. And as you know, we got it done. We have saved Right to Try. They've been trying to get this done for 58 years. And it sounds simple, but it wasn't, because, the insurance companies, nobody wanted it, but we got it done. Somebody you sign a document that you're not going to sue the insurance companies, the country, you're not going to sue anybody. And we got it done, and we're saving tens of thousands of lives. Right to Try. Hopefully you never need it, but if you do, you don't have to travel to Asia. People, if they had money, they go to Asia, they go to Europe. If they don't have money, they go home and die. That's what happened. They'd go home and die.
Well, I mean, and actually, to give Europe some props here, it's like, if a drug is approved in Europe, which has a crazy amount of regulations, it should obviously be approved in the U.S. I mean, they get more regulations than we do. So why would a drug be approved in Europe and not in the U.S.? That's crazy.
Well, we did it. We did something that really, they've been trying to do it for 50 years, and they just couldn't get it done, and I got it done. And it's really something. But you're right. Some people go to Europe because a drug isn't approved here, but it's approved in Europe. And it's a drug that generally speaking, would
Yeah,
work. It's pretty crazy. You're
absolutely.
right.
And I think so, as long as people are properly informed of the pros and cons and like these are the risks, these are this is the risk, and like you make your own decision.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Well, I think just,
So
in sort of closing up, and by the way, I'm looking at the numbers. You got a lot of people listening. I hope you don't get
yeah,
nervous because you got a lot of people listening to you right now, like 60 million or something. What is that number? It's crazy. It's amazing how you can see that right away. How many? What is the number? Wow. What is it?
well,
Wow.
I think in
Wow.
terms of people
That's a
that
big. That's bigger than you said. You said 25, and you're much more than double that number, 25 million. I think you're going to be 60 or 70, and I guess over a period of time. Hey, I congratulate you. Do I get paid for this or not?
well, I think actually in terms of the number of people that will hear this conversation over the next few days to
Right.
weeks, it's going to be hundreds.
That's
of
what they
millions.
say. Yeah, that's good. Well, look, it's an
Yeah.
honor. I just asked this: are you better off now, or were you better off when I was president? Nobody's better off now. People, we put out polls on that, and nobody's better off now. Inflation has killed it. And they also feel very unsafe. You look at what's going on with a lot of different things. You look at the riots we had at the
Yeah.
colleges over, I mean, it's ridiculous, but
Right.
all of the riots, they just feel unsafe. And now they really feel unsafe because you have a new form of crime. It's called migrant crime. I call it Biden migrant
Yeah.
crime. Maybe I'll call it
Well,
Kamala migrant crime. But
I mean, with all these things, I always try to get to the ground truth by just asking people. And my mom lives in New York, and I was like, Mom, have any of your friends, been attacked or assaulted? And she said, yeah, three of her friends in three separate
crazy.
incidents were assaulted just in recent months, just walking around the streets of New York. And I said, well, what happened to the people that assaulted them? Oh, nothing. They got away. Like, and they just know
They
that
always get away.
nothing's going. And they don't even bother reporting it because they know that they're not going to, people are not going to get prosecuted. They just let violent criminals out in New York.
The
with,
only
with
one that gets
zero bail.
prosecuted is Donald Trump. They prosecute Trump.
Yeah, I mean it's just obviously messed up.
Oh, it's terrible.
If violent criminals are being getting off scot free, and meanwhile the New York spending massive resources prosecuting you, and it's like what's this and I think the sort of sensible public looks at this and says, what the heck's going on here? This is obviously abuse of the legal system. The legal system is supposed to be protecting the public from violent criminals, and it should be obviously allowing the public to make their own decision about who should be president, as opposed to some legal case.
Once they start this precedent, because this can go on with the next one. I mean, this is a very bad precedent what they're doing in terms of going after their political opponent, and that's all it is. It's going after their political opponent, and then you get a judge who's a strong Democrat, and I'm being nice when I say that. In many cases, crooked as hell. But you get a judge, and you go into an area where a Republican gets 3 or 4% of the vote, and you'll have a jury pool with people that hate Republicans or hate. It could also be the other way, though, because it could start the other way in areas where they hate Democrats, and you get into a Pandora's box. It's a very dangerous thing for this country, and a very dangerous thing even for the state. New York City is losing. New York City and state lose a lot of business over what they did to me, because these people say, we don't want that to happen to us. That's no justice system. You have an unfair system of justice, and it's costing New York State a tremendous amount of money. People are leaving and companies are leaving, and they won't come back. So, all of that stuff is important. But the economy now is the big thing, and we can turn that economy up so fast, and people are going to be back again. We're going to get rid of inflation.
I think there's a lot of opportunity.
Right. Absolutely.
So,
and I just want to congratulate you. You've done an amazing job. You have definitely got a fertile mind. We can talk. You and I can talk about rockets.
It's kind of you to say. Thank you.
Tunnels. We can talk about tunnels and rockets and electric cars. So many things. And now you're into the AI, and that's going to be another beauty, I'll say. So it's an amazing thing you've done, Elon. It's an amazing thing, and I
Well,
congratulate you.
I mean, thank you. And well, I mean, I just to say here, here's to an exciting, inspiring future that people can look forward to and be optimistic and excited about what happens next. And that's the kind of future that I think you will bring as president, and that's why I endorse you.
Well, I appreciate that. That endorsement meant a lot to me. Not all endorsements mean that much, to be honest. Your endorsement meant a lot. And, we have a phrase, make America great again. It's pretty simple, but it really says that we want to make America great again. And we can do it. We can do it now. But if we were going to suffer another 4 years like we suffered for the last 4 years, I'm not sure the country can ever come back. That's how bad it is. It's so bad. We have to do a lot
I
of
think
things.
that's a very real
Yeah,
risk.
it's a big risk.
That's a very real risk.
Yep.
And it's, I'd just like to note to people listening, like I've not been very political before, and if you look at my record, I've actually been. I'm not like some, so they try to paint me as like a far right guy, which is absurd because I'm like making electric vehicles and solar and batteries helping with the environment, and I actually I supported Obama. I stood in line for 6 hours to shake Obama's hand when he was running for president, and so it's not like I'm like some sort of dyed in the wool long-term Republican. I'd call myself historically a moderate Democrat, and but now I feel like we're really at a critical juncture for the country, and uh, I think a lot of people thought the Biden administration would be a moderate administration, but it's not, and obviously we're just going to see an even further left uh, administration with Kamala. That's my honest opinion. I mean, her dad is literally. I mean, she was brought up as an actual. Her dad is a Marxist economist. You can Google it. I mean, it's not a. We're not making this up. That's how she was brought up. So, and we want to have a future that is prosperous. And I think we're just at this critical juncture, and I think this is a case of the America is going to at a fork in the road, and
True.
and I think it will take if the path like you are the path to prosperity, and I think Kamala is the opposite. Then that's my honest opinion. I'm gonna get attacked like crazy, and I've also experienced quite a bit of lawfare myself, and but I'm just trying to tell people my honest opinion, and I haven't been really active in politics before, and I'm just trying to point out that my track record historically has been moderate, if not moderate, slightly left, and so this is to people out there who are in the moderate camp to say I think you should support um, Donald Trump for president. And I think it's actually a very important junction in the road, and we're in deep trouble if it goes the other way.
Well, I want to thank you. And, I actually always did think of you as somewhat left. I must say that. So it's
Yeah.
even more of an
Well,
honor to have your endorsement. I know how strong you feel about it. But, when you think of her, San Francisco 15 years ago, I had a great friend, Bob Tish. He said it's the greatest city in America. And now it's almost not livable there. And California likewise. And she was involved in the destruction of San Francisco and the destruction of California. And she will be involved in the destruction of our country if people are so unwise as to elect her. And I hope that doesn't happen. And I hope the elections are going to be run honestly. And we're going to turn this country around. We're going to do things and we can do it fairly quickly. And we have to get rid of the criminals that have been, given to us by other countries as they laugh. They laugh at us. They think we're stupid to accept these people. These are radical, stone cold killers in many cases and terrorists. And they're in our country by the hundreds of thousands.
Yeah.
And we have to take them out.
Yeah. I mean, if I could summarize it, perhaps, I think these are issues that I think most people in America would agree with, which is that we want safe and clean cities, we want secure borders, we want sensible government spending, we want to restore both the perception and reality of respect in the judicial system, just stop the lawfare, and I think that's like, and how are those even right wing positions? I think those are that's just common sense, and that's I mean, would you agree with that?
100%. I don't understand, they call it progressive. They don't like the word liberal anymore, but call it liberal or progressive. I don't understand how somebody could say that it's okay for them to empty prisons into our country. And again, I told you their crime rates all over the world are going way down, which makes sense. In fact, the next time what we'll do is if something happens with this election, which would be a horror show, we'll meet the next time in Venezuela because it'll be a far safer place to meet than our country. Okay. So we'll go, you and I will go and we'll have a meeting and dinner in Venezuela because that's what's happening. Their crime rates coming down and our crime rates going through the roof. And it's so simple. And it's, you haven't seen anything yet because these people have come into our country and they're just getting acclimated. And they don't know about being politically correct law enforcement or lack of law enforcement. And our police, I have to just end with this. We have great police. We have great law enforcement, but they're not allowed to do their job. They have to be able to do their job without being destroyed.
Well, absolutely. And it's obviously demoralizing if you're a police officer risking your life to arrest violent criminals who could kill you and do kill you sometimes, and then you arrest the violent criminal, and then the DA doesn't prosecute and that's let the guy out. Well, then like why should a police officer risk their life to arrest a violent felon?
Well, even worse, Elon,
if nothing's going to happen.
Even worse, they prosecute the police officer. They go after it and they prosecute the police officer and they take away his pension. They take away his job. He loses his family. He loses his house.
Well, I thought it was very telling, like incredibly telling, that when there was that case where sort of a gang of thugs beat up police officers. I think it was in Times Square in New York, and then nothing happened to those guys. They were let out, zero bail, and I think a bunch of them were given free tickets to California. Well, what is I mean, that is a gross indignity against the United States, and that's how, I mean, this is insane. Like, have we lost all pride? How can such a thing be allowed to occur?
I've never seen anything. We see where they get shot. It's a very dangerous profession, but it's something they're very proud of, and they want to be able to do their job. But I've seen them get shot. I've seen a lot of things, but I've never seen where these guys are standing in the middle of a big street, everybody watching them, and they're literally boxing, like punching, stand-up fighting a police officer. There were two of them, and you had about six of these guys, and they're punching the hell out of them. And in their own country, they would be dead if they did that. They'd be shot.
Yes.
They would be shot instantly. And, they come from these countries, and it's taking them a while to realize that we don't do that in this country. But in their own country, if they stood on a street and had a fight with a police officer, they would be shot. There's no political correctness. And it's such a sad, it's such a sad thing to see. And that's the reason you have crime, by the way, because we don't do anything about it.
Yeah, we just cannot have a situation where our police officers are beaten up on camera by a gang of illegal immigrants, and then nothing happens to the guys that beat up the cops. I mean, and they're let out. This is unacceptable.
Well, we're going to change it, and we're going to get them out of the country. When I first got involved, they said you couldn't get them back to these countries. You couldn't take them back. In the case of Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador, some others, you couldn't get them back. And I said, really? Oh, you can't get it back? Because under Obama, he couldn't get them back. They'd fly them in, and they'd put planes on the runways in these countries so you couldn't land a plane. They'd bring them back. And the generals told me, sir, we can't bring them back. The countries won't accept MS-13 gang members. They won't accept them. And I said, really, how much do we pay these various countries in terms of economic aid, which is also somewhat ridiculous? And the answer was $750 million. I said, good. Tell them they're in default. They're delinquent. We're not paying them anymore because they won't accept it. And you know what happened? They all called me, every one of them. They said, we would be honored to take them back, sir. We would be honored. It was so easy. But it's one of those things. And we got them back. We took in so many, MS-13 is probably the worst gangs in the world. They're the most vicious, violent. We took them out of here by the thousands and got them out of here. And their countries took them back. And because I said, you're not getting any more economic aid. And once I said that, they were nice. They wouldn't take them back for Obama. They wouldn't take them back for anybody. And now we have a problem because we have this guy, and they don't take him back anymore with Biden because they don't respect him.
Yeah. It's just gotta be done. We just can't have whether they're citizens or not citizens. We can't have because they won't prosecute citizens either, not just illegals. So that if it's you can't have violent, repeat violent offenders that are not that don't get incarcerated.
That's right.
Because they will obviously, by definition, continue to uh, hurt people. And I think where part of this comes from is that there's and I do sort of consider myself liberal in some ways. I mean, it's just that you want to have empathy for
Right.
people. Obviously, you want to have empathy for people. I totally agree with that. You want to have empathy, but you also have to have empathy for the victims of the criminals. And if you just have empathy for the criminals, it's actually shallow empathy. It's not real. You're not thinking. You have one layer deep empathy. You got to say, like, what if you don't incarcerate this person? Who are they going to uh, hurt? Who are they might kill someone. They might rape someone. If you don't incarcerate them, you have to have empathy for the victims. And there's a lack of empathy for the victims of the criminals, and too much empathy for the criminals. It doesn't make sense. That's why you want to have deep empathy for society as a whole, not shallow empathy for criminals.
Right. And we have to give our police officers the dignity and the respect that they deserve. And we have to let them do their job. They can do a great job, but we have to let them do their job. And if we don't do that, it's going to all disappear. There's never been a society like this where you're allowed to do anything you want and nothing happens. And I'm talking about violent crime. And it's going to get more violent because these are really, really violent people. And we're going to get them out of our country, and we're going to get them back to where, because they were sent here by the presidents and by the various people that run those countries. And I know every one of those guys, and they're smart people, and they're streetwise people. And they really think that the USA is stupid. They think we're run by stupid people, and they happen to be right. But when I was there, we had no problem. We got them out. We took out thousands of MS-13 gang members. We brought them back. And now, again, it's the same old story. We don't do it. And they actually gave them a big increase in aid. They raised it up to billions of dollars, and they get nothing for it. So, I hope everybody's going to vote for Trump, and we're going to get this country straight. Yeah. And I didn't need this. I'm like you. I didn't need this. I had a very nice life. I didn't need to go through court systems and go through all the other stuff and run at the same time. I have to run. I have to go through fake trials with, in some cases, corrupt judges, totally corrupt judges. I didn't need it. I had a nice life. I have great locations. I have beautiful oceans that I have places. But I felt it was important. And if I had to do it over again, you probably think I'm crazy for doing it, actually. But if I had to do it over again, I would have done it over again, because this is so much more important than me or my life. We're going to save this country. This country is going down. And these people are bad people that we're running against, and they're liars. They make statements. They do things that are so bad. They say they're going to make a strong border. They say they've been great on the border, and they've been the worst in history. They say they're going to stop crime.
Like, the facts speak for themselves.
It's so incredible.
Speak for themselves. Like it's got to the point where people just don't even bother reporting crime in a lot of cities,
right,
because they know nothing is going to happen. That's what I hear anecdotally from people all the time. So it's just my values. I'm just saying to people out there, like the things I think are important for the future is, like, we've got to have safe cities, we've got to have secure borders, we've got to have sensible spending, and we've got to have deregulation, and
right.
So we can have a prosperous future. And then we want to have some exciting, sort of moonshot projects that people can get fired up about. And that's the future I'm looking for. And I'm pro environment, but I'm not against. I'm not like, I don't think we should vilify the oil and gas industry, because they're keeping civilization going right now. And but I do think we want to move a reasonable speed towards a sustainable energy economy. Those are my values, and I think and so, I mean, that's why I'm supporting you for president.
Well, I appreciate it. We're going to give incentive to companies to come into our country, not to leave our country. We're going to be giving tremendous incentives. We want companies to build here, not to build in other locations. And we want to create jobs. And again, it's about the American dream. You don't hear about the American dream anymore, Elon. You don't hear. You're the American dream in the truest sense, but you don't hear about the American dream anymore. And you're going to hear about it. People, they need that incentive to go out and do it. And they're going to love their lives. I mean, they're going to look forward to getting up in the morning and going to a job that they love, not a job that they can't stand, or not any job at all, where they have no money, where they literally have no money, and then they end up with violence and lots of other problems. No, we're going to do some great things. And I learned a lot in the first. We had a great economy and all of that. We rebuilt the military. We did so much, but I also learned the best people. I learned the good people, the smart people, the dumb people, the people that can do things. The people, you learn. When I first came in, I tell people I was in Washington D.C. only 17 times, according to the fake news media. I was in 17 times. I never stayed over. And you don't know people. You rely on other people to give you names, and then you realize the people you relied on weren't so good. Now, we had great people, but we also had some where I wouldn't have, used them had I known. Now I know everybody. And I think we're going to really turn things around fast. We have no choice. Otherwise, we're not going to have a country. And I really appreciate this. To me, it's been a lot of fun being with you. You're an amazing guy. You've done an incredible job and a great inspiration to people, a great inspiration. And I hope you keep going and just continue to do well. And we're going to have a big election coming up. And I think November 5th will be the most important day in the history of our country. I think that election will be the most important election. And I think it'll end up being maybe the most important day in the history of our country, because if we don't win, I just feel so sorry for everybody.
No, I think we're at a fork in the road of destiny of civilization, and I think we need to take the right path, and I think you're the right path. So I think that's what it comes down to.
Thank you very much, Elon. It's a great honor, and we'll do it again sometime. And it's been really fun, and I hope you got a lot of viewers. I hear you got a lot, but I hope you got a lot. I know you got a lot of them. So I appreciate it. I'll see you soon.
All right, sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you, Elon. Thank you very much. Bye.
Okay. I did not know that would go on for 3 hours, dude. I'm not gonna lie. I got a little tired. I went a little hard at the gym today. I thought this was gonna be like a 1 hour little podcast. No, it ended up being basically 2.5 hours, roundabout 2 hours and 15 minutes. I don't know, man. Like, what is there really to say? I mean, like, this was one of those. This was one of those things where it was just like, if you're a Trump fan, you got what you got out of Trump, and he said the talking points that you wanted to hear. If you're a Harris fan or you're anti-Trump, then he sounded stupid to you, and he sounded like someone who's rambling. So I mean, like, if you're a Trump fan, he said all the stuff about immigration, said all the stuff about, had some funny one-liners about Biden, Harris, etc. If you don't like Trump, then you got the same old Trump that you got before. So I don't think there was anything that unique that they covered. There's 2 quotes I tweeted during this spaces. I'll bring up those 2 because I think those are a bit more objective and less political. The first one was the soundbite, the only time he really talked about Tesla. Trump said, you do make an incredible car. Now, that doesn't mean everyone needs an electric car, but you make an incredible product. This was Trump on the spaces tonight. Elon didn't really push back when Trump talked about not everyone needing an electric car. Elon kind of just let it go. So it didn't seem like Elon wanted to start a conversation around Tesla in particular. They more so talked about some big picture things that I'll discuss in a second. But this was one of the quotes about Tesla. And then the second one, which I think was a bit more important for us as investors, he says, so I know you love this AI. Well, AI requires twice the energy that everything else requires. So we'll need to drill hard. We'll need double what we produce right now. And my, commentary there is that it seems like every portfolio needs a little bit of energy. Oh, hold on. Here, now you can see it. Sorry, it was the button, the screen was smaller. Every portfolio needs a bit of energy because if whether it's Trump or Harris, whatever administration wins is likely going to need a ton of energy to power AI. So if you believe AI is going to be a real thing, if it's going to happen, if it's going to create this new industrial revolution, then Tesla, Next Era Energy, ExxonMobil, Chevron, like all these names have to have some allocation in the portfolio. There's probably some energy ETFs you can just go long on as well, because we're going to have to see a massive surge in energy production, whether that's solar, wind, oil and gas, which oil and gas likely will be the main beneficiaries of it, at least in the short term. Energy is going to be important. Now, Trump did say he doesn't believe in climate change or global warming, but he believes in nuclear warming. I think the point he was trying to make is that there are some nuclear reactors that have not gone well. He was also trying to kind of talk about nuclear proliferation to an extent as well. Elon agreed with him there. I think both agreed that nuclear energy is going to be incredibly important. America uniquely needs nuclear energy to diversify our energy sources. But one thing we all can agree on is energy is important for AI. And the only other comment we got from him on Tesla was that he doesn't think anyone needs an electric vehicle, which is the same thing Trump has been saying for a long time. Now, the broader point of this podcast, it seems like, is that we all knew this, but it was reiterated today. Why is Elon voting for Trump? You saw at the end of the podcast, Elon said he voted for Obama, he voted for Biden, voted for Clinton. Like, he's been pretty much a lifelong Democrat. He's been on the left. So why has he done this hard pivot? Why did he make a hard right? You like that? That was good. That was good. So he made a hard right and voted for Trump. By the way, did you guys like how I spin the ball on my finger? I learned how to do that when I was in 5th grade. I was bored at the liquor store every day with my dad, and I had a basketball, and I would just like force myself to learn how to do it. And now I'm pretty damn good at it. So anyway, why did he take a hard right? It seems like Elon believes Kamala Harris is going to create a communist country. And I think Elon believes that Kamala Harris, he specifically said, will deteriorate prosperity. And what does that mean? What that essentially means is that the private ownership of capital, the ability to have the incentive to be able to create your own business, own equity in that business. We obviously hear, the Democrats are thinking about taxing unrealized capital gains, or at least increasing capital gains tax. That premise is what Elon is so against. I think Elon doesn't like the illegal immigration. He doesn't like the censorship and free speech. He doesn't like that the Biden administration basically, gave him the cold shoulder for 4 years. But I think really what he doesn't like is that if Kamala is elected, he believes that American capitalism, which has been the basis for global prosperity, is going to start to deteriorate because there's going to be certain policies and regulations put in place that will remove the incentive to build a company. And not only build a company, but get that company to be successful, right? And some of the best tech companies obviously are from the United States, because you have people like Elon Musk who actually try. So I think this election comes down to something that's that simple. I mean, everyone has their own voting issues. If you're a Bitcoin person, you're Trump. If you're abortion rights, you're Kamala. But at its core, I think that the question is about, do you believe that a Harris administration would create a communist society, or closer to communism that we've ever been? And a Trump presidency would disavow a lot of those communist ideals, socialist ideals, and reinforce principles of freedom, liberty, etc. Now, I know some people will hear this and say, well, the Democrats aren't actually communists. Maybe they're more social in terms of their economic policies, but they're not straight up communists. And that's a fair argument. And some Republicans might hear that and say, no, a lot of the things that the Democrats are proposing are very close to communism. Again, in Biden's budget, they are proposing taxing unrealized capital gains. Now, that only goes to individuals who make $100 million or more. So if you have a net worth of $100 million, that's when they're thinking of taxing unrealized capitalized gains. But the reason Mark Andreessen endorsed Donald Trump, who's a big Silicon Valley Democrat venture capitalist, is because he thinks that is the beginning of the end for essentially the Roman Empire, right? The American Empire, because now you've got no incentive in place to be able to accumulate wealth. So I think that's really, there's two aisles to that debate. And you either believe in one side or you believe in the other side. On the poll I put up, we have 570 votes on YouTube. Who are you voting for, Trump or Harris? 73. Now we have 660 votes. 73% of you said you're voting for Trump. 27% of you said you're voting for Harris. So at least my chat is a bit more biased towards Trump. We'll see what happens during the actual election. But I think that's the fundamental argument. Outside of that, there was nothing unique that Trump or Elon said that was that interesting. We've heard them talk about illegal immigration. We heard them talk about free speech. We heard them talk about energy production. Trump spent the first 20 minutes talking about the assassination attempt, which, it's kind of crazy. A lot of people have you guys thought about that assassination attempt for the past month? Like, I think that happened less than a month ago. And a lot of people were blaming Trump for spending too much time on that. I don't really, was it a little boring? Yes, but I don't blame him for spending too much time on that because it's kind of been wiped out of a lot of people's memories, right? Like because and it's not really people's fault, or it's not that was a horrific event. It's that the media attention economy and the life cycle of media is fleeting, right? Like people forget about things instantaneously. I mean, like, a massive global event could happen and then people get a notification from their, favorite YouTuber that just uploaded a video, and they start watching that video and they like forget that even happened. Or they like go back to their Netflix, or like, so many things, or they have personal issues in life. So I think he had to remind people that he took a bullet, in his words, for democracy, and kind of make that a real point to get people to realize that, like, that was because remember when that happened, everyone was like, oh, Trump's going to win. Like when that happened, now I know it was Biden, not Harris, but when that happened, everyone felt, all right, like this is it. Trump's won. He's looking super strong and all that stuff. And now it's like, we forget to think about that because the narratives have changed. Things have changed. Kamala's running. She's up in certain polls. And so I do think those 20 minutes were important for him to at least remind people that that was something that was a big deal. Elon did bring it up. Yeah, that was Elon's first question. So overall, look, was it a DDoS attack in the beginning? So, my take was, I think this is Elon, this is Twitter infrastructure problem. I saw a lot of tweets from Elon fanboys. Holmar's blog is one of the biggest Elon fanboy accounts. He'll openly admit he's an Elon fanboy. He's 450,000 followers. Even he said, dude, this is a Twitter Spaces problem. And the reason he said that, and he said it's not a DDoS attack, is because he's on Twitter like 24/7, like me, and he does a lot of spaces. I don't do a lot of spaces. I do like 1 or 2 a week. He does like at least 7 a week. He's on like 1 every single day. And even he realized, yeah, this is like Twitter's inability to manage 500 people, much less 5 million people inside of a room on spaces. So maybe it was a cyber attack. I guess we'll get more information on that. But it seemed like more of an architectural challenge. Now, granted, they still had 1.2 million people listening. So if it wasn't a cyber attack and it was an architecture problem, they solved it quickly. If it was a cyber attack, I guess they were able to resolve the attack quickly as well. But they got the job done. They got 1.2 million people listening, which is not bad. And I'm assuming millions and millions of people are going to listen to this over the next coming weeks. It is a really long one though, so it's going to have to be chopped up into sound bites for it to really like gain momentum, because I don't know who's sitting through 3 hours of this. Did they limit it to 1.2 million? I don't know. They might have. That's the top. That's the like highest number I saw. Maybe they did, because they probably could have got 15 million people listening to this instead of 1.2 million. So maybe they did limit it, but pretty much everyone who wanted to get in got in towards the beginning of the stream. All right. I think that's pretty much it in terms of the future. So my overall thoughts are, if you love Trump, that was great. If you don't like Trump, then he sounded, he sounded like someone who you think is probably not fit to be president. If you love Trump, you think he's fighting for democracy. Objectively, the two things I got from that is he thinks energy is important. So we got to go long energy as investors. And number two, he doesn't think everyone needs a Tesla, but is still a fan of Elon and creating Tesla. So he's more friendlier to Tesla. He's more friendly to Tesla than the Biden administration at least was, which is important for Elon. So here we have the futures. S&P is up, or S&P is flat. NASDAQ's up. Small caps are down. VIX is up, and then the Dow is down. So futures are basically flat. I mean, nothing too interesting. That conversation didn't really affect futures at all. So nothing there on futures. And then Bitcoin. Bitcoin really didn't move during this whole conversation. Yeah, Bitcoin 59,000. It's up 1.6%, but nothing too crazy from there. Okay, that is it from me. I'll be live 8:45 a.m. tomorrow. I am going to bed. I am tired. I'm legit tired. It's time for me to sleep, bro. We were spinning balls, and I was showing you guys my old debate trophies. Like at one point, the conversation did get a little boring, and we stuck through it. We got through it. 2 hours and 15 minutes. It's time to go to sleep. So thank you all for being here. I'll be live 8:45 a.m. tomorrow morning. anything but Home Depot is tomorrow, so that'll be good for the consumer and learning a little bit more about that. Oh, PPI is tomorrow. So we got PPI, we got Home Depot earnings, and yeah, and then that's pretty much it. We'll see if Palantir can get back to that $30 range. It wasn't able to get there today. I mean, it stayed at 31.20 for a little bit. David Glazer did sell about 107,000 shares of Palantir this morning at $30 exactly. But besides that, we'll see what happens with Palantir tomorrow as well. And that's it. That's it. Wow, just 3 streams today. Oh, by the way, tomorrow I want to stream a Vlad on a new podcast. So maybe at 8 p.m. I'll do a watch party and we'll stream him. If you care about Bitcoin at all or crypto, that'll be a stream you can tune into and we can listen to that. I do have to go liquidate my bladder. So that's another thing I should go do. All right. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. It was fun. We'll see what happens tomorrow when the market opens. We'll see what happens with Bitcoin. This Iran attack that theoretically was supposed to happen this morning, that has not happened. I don't see any headlines on that. So we'll see if that has any impact. We'll see how Palantir does tomorrow. See if we can get back to 30. And we'll keep going from there. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Means the world. Appreciate it. I'll see you guys tomorrow morning, 8:45 a.m. Eastern for the market open. Bye, everyone. Have a good one.